854-977-9445. Good morning, everyone. We'll be on the air in just a minute or two. Oh, man. Yeah, so, of course, if you caught my stream on the way in this morning, we're going to be talking about the Rittenhouse verdict, the Rittenhouse jury, everything that's going on with them. It's one of those days, people.
At 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid fraud.
The day has already started off rough.
South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-COCAINE 1. That's 1-888-COCAINE.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday. That's right. It's Wednesday morning. My name is Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Radio Show. Flo Rida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. And, of course, November 17th, 2021. Welcome to the program. If you are new here, sit back. You have met your new addiction. You're going to be addicted to this program, I promise you. It's that good. We're the best show on the radio. This is the most pro-Donald Trump MAGA radio show on the planet Earth. I promise you that. And, man, do we have a lot to talk about today. The Rittenhouse jury deliberations are continuing, and we're getting a lot of very troubling stories out of Kenosha, out of the courthouse, and there really are two media outlets that are covering this trial properly. Right Side Broadcasting out in front of the courthouse last night during jury deliberations. I was watching that before I went to bed. And then the great investigative journalist Jack Posobiec. Jack Posobiec is spectacular. And Jack Posobiec he reported on some things last night going on with this jury which are incredibly disturbing. Jack Posobiec has a source inside the jury deliberations. He says it's a federal marshal that's in the courtroom. I don't know if that's a misdirection or not, but Jack Posobiec is someone whose stories I would take to the bank. I usually do. In fact, Jack Posobiec was trending on Twitter last night and this morning. I don't know if he currently is, but I was up really early this morning going through the news, and Jack Posobiec, it shocked me to see that he was trending because he is the only reporter that's reporting what's truly going on with this jury. Jack Posobiec has tweeted a couple of things, and Tucker Carlson talked about this last night too on Fox News channel. Jack Posobiec said that there are two jurors that are holding out. Two jurors holding out. Now, before I get to everything, you got to be a little patient with me today. I don't know how this happened, but I got to the radio station, I opened up my iPad, and it's only at 2%. So I am using a Windows computer here in the studio that typically is just for the commercials, not really meant for the internet. It hasn't been hooked up to the internet in a year. So I'm using this old Windows computer that costs less than $200 to go through all my show prep that I have and my stack of stuff on my Twitter. And because this computer has not been connected to the internet in about a year, it's just decided it's got to update everything. So it's running a little slow. But Jack Posobiec, he sent out some tweets that are very, very telling. Here's the first one. Two jurors holding decision up, okay, outright citing backlash per U.S. Marshals in Kenosha. So that there, I've got a charger, but maybe yours is better. I don't know, because I've got this old ancient charger. I appreciate that, Rich Allen. Take care. I appreciate it. Hopefully it'll charge a little faster than mine. Let's see, is it working? It is working. Okay, let's see. Hopefully it does, because using this old... I hate Windows. Everything I use is Mac. So Jack Posobiec, this was his first tweet. 2 jurors holding decision up, outright citing backlash. So they are being openly verbal about this. So we don't know if they're voting not, or if they're voting guilty or not, and we're looking at a hung jury. They may not be voting. They may refuse to even vote. We don't know, because they're openly saying they're afraid of backlash. And the only backlash I could really take is that if they go not guilty, they're afraid of backlash. So here it is. 2 jurors, this is Jack Posobiec, 2 jurors holding decision up, outright citing backlash per U.S. Marshal in Kenosha. Oh my goodness. So it looks like we have a jury, based on this one tweet from Jack Posobiec, it looks like we have a verdict, and that's not guilty, but 2 members of the jury are fearful to vote officially. So based on that, we could say that the jury has reached a verdict of not guilty, but they're afraid. These 2 are afraid. Here's the second tweet from Jack Posobiec. Worried about media leaking their names, what will happen to their families, jobs, etc. And again, remember, this is not speculation. According to Jack Posobiec, and Jack Posobiec he has very good sources. He's an incredible reporter, and everything that he reports typically is spot on. So he's saying that they're being very verbal about this. We're afraid of what's going to happen to our families. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job, and whatever else they have to say. Here's the next tweet, and the final one so far on this. Jury intimidation. Jack Posobiec on Twitter, including doxing threats from anarchist groups. Now, if you remember, last week, George Floyd's nephew put a video up online saying that they had people inside the courtroom photographing the jurors so they could identify them. And then a day or 2 after that, the judge in the Rittenhouse case said that one of the deputies at the courthouse caught someone photographing the jury, and they took the phone and deleted the photographs. So it looks like we have a jury who is ready to go not guilty, but it's being held up because of the jury intimidation. Now, I was watching Right Side Broadcasting, which Right Side Broadcasting these are amazing people. I've met most of the people from Right Side Broadcasting, and I know people that you see on the air at Right Side Broadcasting, and they're all good people. You know, and it's amazing, as popular as they are, no egos, and they're very good people at Right Side Broadcasting. They were out in front of the courthouse last night, and I saw, for some reason, Black Lives Matter is there, which I don't quite understand. They're there, you know, a lot of these Black Lives Matter people are white, you know, in Wisconsin apparently, but what's going on out there is being heard inside the jury deliberation room. There's been reporting that the jurors in the deliberation room are hearing the mob outside, which is jury intimidation. So we have 2 jurors afraid to officially vote not guilty. They're hearing the chants of the mob outside. What will the judge do today? Let me open up the phones. Our number is toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-CANE1. It's a toll-free call. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. A toll-free call from anywhere, no matter where you were listening, no matter where you are watching us. And this is, you know, this case really should not even be political. What came out in the courtroom, and I'm telling you, I did not have an opinion on this case until the evidence came in. You know, usually when there's a high-profile trial, we have tons of things out there before the trial, and, you know, you can have an opinion based on what you know. That is a very educated opinion. In the Kyle Rittenhouse case, that's not the case, because the media and the Democrats and the prosecutor were covering up all kinds of information because they were trying to convict Kyle Rittenhouse in the court of public opinion before the jury pool was even put together, okay? So it wasn't until the trial, really wasn't until the person that Kyle Rittenhouse shot that survived testified that we really started to get the true picture of what happened. And each of these three terrible incidents, and to me, it's very sad that 3 people were shot and 2 of them have died. I think that's awful, and I think you all do too. But each of these instances is textbook self-defense. If you were hired by any group of people to make a video on handgun defense when it is appropriate and not appropriate to use your legally owned firearm in self-defense, each one of these 3 incidents could be included in that demonstration video as examples of self-defense. And since these are anarchists, they're leftists, because remember last year America was under attack by leftist activists in cities across America. Because of that, the Democrats want to cover all of this up, and the Democrats include the mainstream corporate media. So this judge in the Rittenhouse case is a very sharp guy. He's a very sharp man. He knows everything that's going on. I mean, my goodness, his phone rang in court last week and it was playing Lee Greenwood's "I'm Proud to Be an American." So he's a good guy, and he had a tie on the other day with American flags on it. I see the protesters out front with flags. I didn't see any American flags being flown and held and walked around with the protesters. There were some flags there I didn't recognize. That flag that has green in it, I don't think that's an Irish flag. If anybody knows what these flags are, let me know. Now, this is amazing thing happened last night. Mike Lindell interviewed President Trump. And I got a call yesterday from Mike Lindell's office yesterday afternoon telling me about this and asking us to share this with you. So those of you out there, if you go to that are supporters of the Thomas Edison of sleep, the inventor of the MyPillow, Mike Lindell, and of course the greatest president this country has ever had, President Trump, you want to check out this interview. It's in its entirety up there on Frank's Speech. So go and watch that after I go off the air at 9 a.m., please. But go watch it. And it's a very good interview. I watched it this morning. Very good interview. And President Trump was all dressed up, too. Pretty cool. So go and check that out. And also, Mike Lindell, I've been telling you guys, he is under so much pressure from the cancel culture. He's being sued for over $1 billion. He is personally being sued, and his company is being sued. The leftists are trying to bankrupt Mike Lindell and steal MyPillow from him, which is just an awful thing. And he's going up against forces that are have unlimited resources. And Mike Lindell was asked in an interview, Mike Lindell, what can people who support you, support MAGA, support President Trump, what can people do to help you? And he said, buy MyPillow products. And Mike Lindell gave us our own MyPillow webpage that has incredibly low discounts. I'll tell you about just a couple of them right now. But if you go to mypillow.com/Kane, Kane, and use our promo code Kane, you'll find great Christmas gifts there. The MyPillow My Slippers, 50% off with the promo code Kane. I just bought a pair of the slippers the other day for Steve Kane, all right? I have a pair of the MyPillow My Slippers as well. They are very comfortable, and they're actually good for all-day wear, not just for slippers around the house. They are very, very nice slippers, very comfortable, make a great Christmas gift. And like everything else Mike Lindell makes, not only is the product high quality, but so is the packaging. Perfect for wrapping, and whoever you give those to will love them. They have styles for both men and women. I have the tan moccasin ones, but they have multiple styles for men, multiple styles for women, and of course they all come in multiple colors. 50% off with the promo code Kane at checkout. My wife just bought another 2 sets of the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. Buy one set, get a second set free. This time she bought the flannels. We have 2 sets of regular sheets. Now we have flannels on the way. And it's buy one set, get another set free of the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets with the promo code Kane. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right, we'll take a quick break and be right back. Don't go anywhere. Our number toll free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. Uh-oh. 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 See, this is what happens when I use this computer for something else. I'm going to have to reboot the computer and disconnect it from the internet. See, this is what happens when I'm using an ancient computer that has like Windows 98 on it. It won't let me play the commercials. So I'm just going to have to keep on talking. That's okay. It's a talk show, and we love to talk. Let me see. Is this working? Nothing's working. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, hey, listen. Live radio, people. Live radio. We've been through worse. But Rich, if you're down the hall, I need a little help because I can't reach. If you just unplug it from the internet, unplug the yellow cable, I'll reboot it and we'll be good to go. Oh my goodness, live radio. You know, radio was a lot easier when we didn't have computers. You know, we had cart machines, and is it unplugged? Just the yellow one. Okay, now reboot and we'll be good to go. But this computer's so old it'll take about 12 minutes to reboot. But oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Rich Allen, he's been working with Steve and I for over 30 years, so, all right, so we'll just keep on talking. So anyway, so that's what's going on, and this Rittenhouse case is, I'll turn them on, okay, all right, you know what, I got to test the phones too, everything's just a mess. Everything's a mess here. Everything's a mess. I didn't test the phone. I was running late, okay, I was running late this morning. In fact, I was leaving my development, and there was a police cruiser parked at the exit of my development, and I stopped because there's a stop sign. I wanted to make sure that I made a complete stop because there was a police cruiser right there at the stop sign, and it was one of my neighbors heading to work, and he says, "What are you doing, Brian? Shouldn't you be like at the radio station?" I said, "Yes, so, you know, but I'm running late. Things are a little sketch here today. We'll get through it." All right, so, you know, this Rittenhouse case is important for many reasons. One, of course, we want the justice system to work properly and not have juries render verdicts because leftist mobs outside that still live with mommy and spend their days playing on Twitch streams and things like this are intimidating juries. And, you know, when Jack Posobiec says 2 of the jurors are holding things up because they're afraid, they're not afraid what's going to happen if they go guilty. So Jack Posobiec's reporting is 100% proof that this jury looks as if they cannot render a verdict because of that. And that's not a hung jury. That's a whole other thing. And in a high-profile case, can any of you think of an incident? Can any of you think of an incident when a jury could not render a verdict because jury members were afraid? That's a new one to me. We've had hung juries, and I get that, and a hung jury would not surprise me. But what's going on right now isn't a hung jury. It's a jury with members that are not just afraid for themselves, they're afraid for their families as well as their jobs. This is a completely new thing we're dealing with. And I don't think we've ever heard anything like that in any high-profile case ever. Okay? Now, you know, when the George Floyd verdict was going on, there was before the jury even went in, there was violence every night, and the jury was going home every night in the Floyd case, and they were driving through the areas that were looted. And not only are the jury members in this case hearing the mob outside, since they're not sequestered, the Rodney King cops were acquitted in the Rodney King trial, and that's when everything happened in South Central long ago. And then George W. Bush, or not George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Bush 41, or as Trump calls him, Bush 1, his Justice Department
lab test because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs' goal is to get you all the lab tests you need, save you money, and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, you never need an appointment, no doctor's order.
Oh man, rough morning, people.
And have any of their thousands of lab tests done for just a fraction of the price the big labs or your doctor's office charge. Give them a call, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Private and affordable lab testing. 954-906-5983.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, we're back, good people. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. By the way, I've heard from so many of you yesterday about my health, and I have been under the weather about my health. I did see my doctor yesterday, and I'll be seeing Janet Cimarelli over at AJ's Naturals this week. And when Janet calls in at the end of the show today, I'm going to share a couple of things with her that came out in my blood work from Any Lab Test Now with Boke. And not all of it, because it's none of your business, and But I'm going to share a couple things from it, and I'll be heading over to AJ's Natural in the Festival Marketplace in Pompano and picking up some supplements. So I'm really looking forward to Janet Cimarelli's call today. All right, let's go to the phones at 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's our number, a toll-free call from anywhere. We're talking about the Rittenhouse jury. It's being reported that 2 jurors are holding out because they're afraid for their families, themselves, and their jobs. Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name?
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
What happened with them to prejudice?
There's 2 different kinds of mistrials so far as I know. I'm not a lawyer, okay? But there's a regular mistrial, just a mistrial. Judge declares that, and then this strange prosecutor who doesn't even know the basic laws involving weapons in Wisconsin can come back with another trial. If the judge has a mistrial with prejudice, that means the prosecutor cannot come back with these charges. It's over.
Walk free?
Yes. If he declares a mistrial with prejudice, he'll be free. And they won't be able to come back at him with charges.
Okay, well, thanks.
All right, well, thank you. Where are you calling from?
Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky. Hey, Kentucky. I love Kentucky. And they don't call Kentucky the bluegrass state for nothing. I've driven through Kentucky so many times going to and from Ohio when I was a kid, and the bluegrass is beautiful. It's everywhere. All right, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's K-A-N-E, and the number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hi, Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Joellen from Fort Lauderdale. How you doing?
Good. So when they vetted these jurors, did they not take into account that was a possibility that, they were going to be, intimidated by these mobs? It just, the jurors I'm talking about.
Well, what do you mean they didn't take when you say they didn't take it into account, what would you have liked them to have done?
Well, they could have said, I cannot serve on the jury because I fear about the mob.
Well, things have happened since then, right? There have been 2 Yeah.
That was going to be a possibility. So I would say that
Wesley, find out the super chat. Thank you. Everyone thank Wesley.
And I would think that they would ask that question, because that it's a possibility. Why wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know what you mean. So we should have made sure there were a bunch of tough guys there? I mean, things happen. And we've had 2 instances, Joellen, in the last week of the jurors being photographed, right? We heard from George Floyd's nephew who said there were people, plural, in the courtroom taking photos. And then the judge said one of the deputies caught someone taking photographs of the jury. So that intimidation has happened since, and maybe they got nervous after that. I can understand that. Can't you?
I understand that, but those jurors before going in there, they always ask those questions.
Yeah, but there's a difference. There's a difference in dealing with something in theory, which is what you're talking about, and actually dealing with it. Right? Like for example, you would think, a soldier is tough. They've got all their training, but until they're in combat, you really don't know how they're going to react, right? So that's the situation here. You're talking about in theory, and now it's real. And what do you think the judge should do now that we have this story that 2 jurors have vocalized their concern about their safety, their family's safety, and their jobs from the mob? What do you think the judge should do this morning about this?
Well, I would say either a mistrial with prejudice or replace those 2 jurors with the backup.
With alternate jurors? Now you can't do that if you've got jurors who are wavering on a verdict. You can't just replace them with jurors that are going to give you what you want.
Well, how can you give you what you want if they're saying they fear for their lives? Obviously, they are not giving what they want.
Well, it sounds if they're not. I would think if they're fearful for their lives, I don't think they're fearful that they're going to come back with a guilty verdict. You know what I mean? It sounds like they've got a whole. Jack Prosobic says he could make the mistrial with prejudice he could use for his political purposes. I think that's the only option right now.
Yeah, it's just a shame. It's just really scary to think that you have people on a jury, and you're afraid of what. So you put that before the person that's going to go to jail for the rest of his life, that possibility, just because you're afraid. I mean,
well, it's easy for you and me to say. I understand where they're coming from. If I were them and I was afraid, I think they have legitimate fear. And
absolutely, but you know what? You cannot sit on a jury and rule and judge by fear. I'm sorry. That's
what's going on is there's a lynch mob.
So
it's a lynch mob.
Those kind of people, those people knew. You cannot tell me that those people that were sitting on the jury did not know that was a possibility. I don't care.
Yeah, but Joellen, it's like I told you. There's a difference in theory and it actually happening. Okay? Beforehand, oh yeah, I'll take anything. I'm a tough guy. Then all of a sudden you find out your kid's life is in danger. Maybe you've got a kid in school and someone said something to them since then. How can you account for that?
What happened with George Floyd? They know that this was a high-profile case. You don't say.
I'm shocked. I mean, you're blaming the jury. You're calling them cowards, and you're blaming the jury.
I'm not blaming them. I'm saying if you do not think going in what the.
One of my favorite movie is Airplane. It's the funniest movie ever made. You know Airplane? You've never seen Airplane? Oh my goodness. You've got to see Airplane. It is the funniest movie ever, and there's this one portion in the movie where they show the news dealing with the story that there's this disaster on the plane, and they show this one guy who's supposed to be like the McLaughlin group. And it's like a talking head, and he says, they bought their tickets, they knew what they were getting into, I say let them crash. And it's pretty funny. And that's not even the funniest line in the movie, but it's very, very funny because the movie's hilarious. That's what you're saying. These jurors knew what they were getting into, screw them. No,
I didn't screw them. I understand their fear. I understand that, but every one of them had to know, like George Floyd, that there was a possibility that...
Okay, all right, Joellen, we're going around in circle, but hey, listen, good call. Thanks for the call. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Hey, Richie.
I'm blaming on the lawyers and the voir dire that they did not ask the question.
Oh, well, you've been watching a lot of stuff. Voir dire, what the hell does that mean? I've heard the word. What does it mean? You're using legal terms.
Yeah, when a juror, I used to go to court in Fort Lauderdale all the time too. I should have been a lawyer, to tell you the truth. It's when the jury is selected, the prosecution and the defense have opportunity to question the jurors, and they throw, and that's very important, the jury you pick, okay? There are 7 women on this jury and 5 men. And if anybody disagrees with me, you tell me. Women are more emotional than men. Men are more logical, and that's a fact. And I think they might have gotten too scared the heck out. I bet you there's a holdout on women. And the other thing I'm going to say is, Steve, it's his show, and I hope he's listening now. I was shocked with this trial that Steve thinks that because people are talking about the trial, that the media isn't talking about the economy and the country falling apart. I have to tell Steve, and I know he's probably listening, Steve, if there was no other news around, the media would be on the Democratic side regardless, and they cover for the president. It doesn't matter if
Tim, $5 super chat. Thank you. I want to thank Tim.
They don't care.
I'll read the chat during the break in just a minute.
And that's,
well, I'm gonna, I don't do this very often. I do it for you on occasion. I'll lift the 1 call per day rule and let you call in when Steve joins us later in the show and talk to him. But I talked to Steve after the show yesterday, and I agree with him that this other bill is a big story, but there's not a new development. I don't know how to do a talk show about that today. There's not a new development. I mean, I could read from the bill and things like this about what's in it, but I think that would be boring. And there's just not there's not an incident there's nothing for me, and that's what I learned from Steve. I used an example on the air last week with a caller that is word for word something Steve told me once. We had a woman coming in from the La Leche League, which used to be an activist organization for breastfeeding moms, on the show, and he says that's a terrible idea to have her on, because there's nothing in the news about it. Now, if she would have been thrown off a bus for breastfeeding, then we'd have something to talk about. Right now, there's not a new development. I don't know how to do a talk show on that second bill right now until there's a development. But I'll let you call in and talk to Steve later about it.
Right about that. And I was kind of surprised. I know he's upset. He's upset with the economy. And the economy it's not a diversion. This trial is not a diversion. Because like I said, if the trial wasn't even there, the diversion would be a protection of the president.
So let's get back, and I mean that. So call back when Steve joins us. I'll put you on with Steve, okay? But I want to talk to you about this. So Jack Persobic says there are 2 jurors that are holding out because they're afraid for their families, themselves, and their jobs. And he says this comes from a marshal inside. I've heard there's only 2 marshals there. So he outed somebody, unless that's misdirection. I wouldn't think they would be afraid to come back with a guilty verdict. I think they'd be afraid to come back with a not guilty verdict. What if you were the judge, what would you do this morning?
Mistrial with prejudice. But
Sherry,
here's
$10 super chat. Thank you. Everyone thanks Sherry. She says you're awesome.
Systemic.
You're awesome too.
Systemic in this country over the last year. If you're sitting in McDonald's and Black Lives Matter or marching,
the members of the jury should have brought up these issues before they got into deliberations.
And they come over to your table and they flip your table. You sit there and intimidate the hell out of you, and nothing happens to them. Or they burn, and it's not just that, it's the organization Antifa burning your city down, and there's no process.
Well, there's it's like, for example, you're a Vietnam veteran. And you went through basic training with all your buddies, but was it a little different when you stepped off the plane in Vietnam than when you were in basic? I mean, you never know what someone's going to do until you're there, right? Uh-oh, I lost Richie again. Oh, my gosh. Oh, boy. Hey, listen, if you're on hold, don't go anywhere. We're going to take our last break of the first hour. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show. The most pro-Donald Trump MAGA radio program on the planet Earth. I promise you that. I got a MAGA hat and a MAGA shirt on while I'm doing the show here. That just tells you everything you need to know. And, of course, this is also the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida. The Steve Kane Show has been on the radio since 1977. My name's Brian Craig. Steve will be joining us later in the program, and I will put Richie's call through to Steve when he joins us. Let's take that break, all right? We'll be back after this.
Hey guys, Brian Craig here. I have the MyPillow slippers, and Mike Lindell, he's right. These are the most
Steve
comfortable
Kane Show.
slippers I've ever worn. And you can get them for
Hey, Jeff, hold on.
40% off at mypillow.com with the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E.
Thank you all for those
One of
super
our
chats.
listeners called in on the air and told us about his experience with the MyPillow My Slippers.
Brian, I have the
Brian gets upset sometimes over petty things. He needs to chill.
These are fantastic.
How are you supposed... Okay, who said that?
Which ones do you have?
A.
What
Ripley.
style do you have?
The fur line.
Okay,
Slip-on fur line?
Ripley.
Yeah, inside, outside.
Tell me how to do a live morning drive, issue-oriented news talk radio show and be chill.
So you're wearing the
Right? How do you do that and be chill?
40% off with the promo code
This is, you know how you do a talk show?
with your neuropathy.
You know how you do a talk show? A good one? A great one like this one? You find something in the news that pisses you off and you talk about that. Right? So that's what I'm doing. That's what you do. You don't talk about things that don't piss you off too much. You know? But if you know how to do a talk show
I know they're all great. Yeah.
without getting upset, let me know and make it good and interesting and hot in the best show like this one.
30% off
Because you know some things about talk radio I don't know, Ripley.
pillows with it, so it's great. Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Order your MyPillow My Slippers 40% off with the promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com, or call 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation.
Oh, man.
Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care.
You don't want to be boring. You got to talk about things that piss you off. You can't just be a boring newsreader.
With the Sole Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics.
The health problems I'm having, some of it are related to that, like my blood pressure and things like that. But the show must go on.
These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name brand shoes. They're stylish.
My blood pressure is so high during the show and after the show. Oh, man. I had my doctor's appointment late in the day. My blood pressure was perfect because it was late in the day.
Diabetes is preventable.
What's up?
One of the preventable measures.
Yeah, thanks for the charger. This charger works better than mine. I got to bring in a better charger.
Sole Authority.
That's an iPhone charger. It just it's not strong enough
597-7060 or
for the
online
iPad.
at thesoleauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve sent you.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-COCAINE-1. That's 1-888-COCAINE-1. And
All righty. Yes. 47 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We're talking about just very disturbing stories coming out of the jury deliberations in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1, that's K-A-N-E, and the number 1-888-465-2631. Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine.
Oh, hey, Jeff in Maine. How you doing?
Good. I got a couple of questions. First of all, in these high-profile cases, the jury needs to be protected, just like the law, and how the prosecution totally broke the law, lying about this young man. We need, what do you call it? Law. I can't think of the word. Reform. Need some reform, because these juries, I'm hoping these people have training and weapons to protect them.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you know what I'm wondering? And this just popped in my head. You can't protect them for life. What are you going to do, put them in witness protection? I'll tell you something, and I don't even know how that would work today with all the social media, but I'll tell you something, Jeff in Maine. This just popped in my head as you were talking. So for those that are just tuning in, Jack Posobiec is trending on Twitter over this. He broke some news about the jury. He said that there are 2 members of the jury that are holding out because they fear for the safety of their family, their personal safety, and their jobs, which to me sounds like an acquittal, and they're afraid to do the official vote. And I'm wondering, did the prosecutor scare them when he pointed the AR-15 at them the other day in the closing? Was that something that they started thinking after that? Was that the and it's been reported on Fox? I think it was Dershowitz said this last night, that the jury can hear the mob outside. But I'm wondering if the prosecutor pointing the AR-15 at them the other day was what really scared them.
Hey, Brian, I got another spin on that. Did he do it deliberately to scare him?
It's possible. It's possible, Jeff.
I don't put anything past these liberals. They will do anything to win. This is about truth. This is about the law. This is about our justice system working out properly, correct?
Yeah. I mean, am I wrong, or do you agree with me or not, that the 2 jury members that are fearful for their safety, their family safety, and their job, they're not fearful because they're going to go guilty. They would have to be fearful because they want to go not guilty, right?
Exactly.
So boom, though. I mean, so a mistrial with prejudice would be in tune with the jury verdict that they cannot render out of fear, if what Jack Posobiec is reporting is true.
And when he said that, you give up the right to self-defense, and I can't remember the end of this.
When you have a gun, when you have a gun, you give up your right to self-defense.
Why didn't the defense attorneys stand up and object to that, saying that is a lie?
I know. I'm surprised too. It seemed my daughter was watching, and she said to me, so if you have a gun, it's okay to attack you and kill you if you have a gun legally? That seems crazy.
I think the defense attorneys they had so many things that they have objected to, they just stopped thinking properly or something. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not sure what's going on with these 2 prosecutors. My wife calls them Laurel and Hardy because one's skinny and one's fat, Yeah, my wife's got a good sense of humor. I know. She's got a good sense of humor. The snowflakes don't even know who Laurel and Hardy are. But, you got to wonder. You got to wonder about these 2 guys, The skinny prosecutor, which one was skinny? Was Hardy the skinny guy? If anybody knows, which one was fat, which one was skinny? Was Laurel the skinny guy? I don't remember. Anyway, we'll just call him the skinny prosecutor. He doesn't even know the basic gun laws. He thought it was illegal to be in possession of a long rifle if you're under the age of 18. That is not true.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Really, 3 rules of owning a weapon. First of all, treat every gun as if it's loaded. And never point a gun where you're not willing to pull the trigger, because you treat every gun as loaded. And you're responsible for that round from the time you pull the trigger till it ends.
Well, and with this thing with Alec Baldwin that just happened, when he pointed that AR-15 at the jury, this is insane. One of the charges against Kyle Rittenhouse is pointing the gun at bystanders, and he did just the same thing he's charging Rittenhouse with, the prosecutor. That's crazy town with this prosecutor. And I think this prosecutor, I wouldn't be surprised when this is over if the judge pursues him, because this guy, it was inappropriate. If you were the judge this morning, if everything Jack Posobiec is reporting is true, what would you do?
Dismiss with extreme prejudice. Make this go away.
Yeah. But this, But this attorney general we have is he may be more corrupt than even Biden, and that's saying a lot. Calling parents domestic terrorists. He lied to Congress the other day. We now know with these new documents that he's got the FBI putting together, I don't know, was it dossiers on parents? I don't know. So this attorney general could go after federal charges on Rittenhouse, some civil rights case. It would not surprise me at all.
What about if he lied on the stand, making false, out-and-out lies during the trial? Isn't that prosecutable?
Only if you're a Republican. It's in the Constitution.
Sad.
It is. All right, take care. Thanks for the call, Jeff in Maine. Good caller. Jeff in Maine always has some wisdom to share with us. Oh, man, I'll tell you. I got to tell you guys about Dr. Mitch Matez and hormone replacement pellet therapy. The only time you'll hear me say this really is when I'm doing the spot. I'm 50 years old, and I just can't believe I'm 50. My mother was at the house the other day, and I told my mom, I can remember when you were 27, when I actually knew you were 27 years old, and I'm 50. I said, I can't believe I'm 50. She said, you can't believe you're 50. I can't believe it either. But people that don't know me don't realize how old I am. And it's because of the great work of Dr. Mitch Matez over at the Biostation in hormone replacement pellet therapy. Hormone replacement pellet therapy is a miracle. It's completely 100% all natural. Part of the aging process is your body, and this is true for both men and women, your body produces fewer hormones. That's what causes you to lose energy, to slow down, and have all these other problems that we just call aging. And people say, oh, that's just what happens when you get old. It's not the case. You can get your energy back. You can get your body tone back. You can look younger. You can feel younger. You can get your sex drive back, both men and women. You can get your ability to have sex back if you suffer from sexual dysfunction. Women, all the signs and symptoms of menopause completely stopped and reversed, all of them, with hormone replacement pellet therapy with Dr. Mitch Matez at the Biostation. Dr. Matez is the originator of hormone replacement pellet therapy here in South Florida. He brought it first, before any other doctor, hormone replacement pellet therapy. He's the best. He uses hormone replacement pellet therapy himself. And I was talking to Dr. Matez a couple of days ago, and you don't have to be in South Florida to become a patient of Dr. Mitch Matez. We have listeners that are contacting Dr. Matez from other parts of Florida as well as other parts of America, out-of-state patients now that are listeners to this program. So no matter where you are, call Dr. Mitch Matez's office at the Biostation. Now, for Steve Kane listeners, and this is Steve Kane listeners only, it's a completely free consultation. Non-Steve Kane Show listeners have to pay for that consultation because it takes up the doctor's time. You can't be doing free consultations all day. You wouldn't have time to see patients. But it is something that he offers to listeners of this program. So when you call, make sure you mention that. Here's the number, 561-320-8893. 561-320-8893 for Dr. Mitch Matez at the Biostation. One last time, 561-320-8893. And make sure you mention you heard them on the Steve Kane Show for the free consultation. So when I'm talking to you about this Justice Department, remember Steve Bannon, after he was released, when he surrendered himself the other day, came out and said that Joe Biden, when he got off of Marine One, ordered the Attorney General to arrest him, which was very specific, which tells me that he's got sources there that told him that's illegal. And when the judge in the Rittenhouse case gave instructions to the jury, he specifically told the jury to ignore what Joe Biden said, calling Kyle Rittenhouse a militia white supremacist. 2 days ago, in the White House press briefing, Peter Doocy asked Jen Psaki about Biden's statements that Rittenhouse is a well, let me just play this, a white supremacist, which is not true. And then Jen Psaki made it even worse with her comments from the White House press briefing podium. Listen to this. This is Doocy with Psaki Jen Psaki, her first name and her last name both named after two different types of alcohol, Jen and Psaki. She's bi-alcoholic in her name. This is, I'm getting it queued up. I'm just buying a little time and talking while I'm queuing it up. Okay, here we go. Jen Psaki with Ducey, day before yesterday, White House press briefing room.
And then just something tied to an ongoing court case. Why did President Biden suggest that Kyle Rittenhouse, on trial in Kenosha, is a white supremacist?
So, Peter, what I'm not going to speak to right now is anything about an ongoing trial.
So Jen Psaki says she's not going to speak anything about an ongoing trial. So what does she do next? She starts speaking about the ongoing trial.
So, Peter, what I'm not going to speak to right now is anything about an ongoing trial, nor the president's past comments. What I can reiterate for you is the president's view that we shouldn't have, broadly speaking, vigilantes patrolling our communities with assault weapons. We shouldn't have ominous, corrupting peaceful protests by rioting and burning down the communities they claim to represent anywhere in the country. As you know, closing arguments in this particular case, which I'm not speaking to, I'm just making broad comments about his own.
Of course she's speaking on it.
There's an ongoing trial. We're awaiting a verdict. Beyond that, I'm not going to speak to any individuals or this case.
She just called him a vigilante. She's speaking about the case all over the place. She even described his weapon as an assault weapon. What is an assault weapon, Psaki? Do you even know? What kind of weapon did he have? When you say he wasn't a vigilante? It is legal in Wisconsin to have open carry. You know, Florida, we're in a great state. Florida's the best state ever. I mean, this is the best state in the union. Ron DeSantis is free Florida, no doubt about it. I wish we had open carry in Florida. I really do. Concealed carries, like I'm wearing shorts right now. How do I conceal carry in my Florida wear? Very hard to conceal carry in this. I wish we had open carry. If we had open carry, I'd be carrying, but we don't, so I don't. You're not a vigilante when you live in a state where you're allowed to carry weapons out in public legally. That's not vigilante. That's exercising your rights. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE 1. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this.
We've got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Hi everyone, Brian Craig here. I'm in studio with Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. Scott, when you install radiant barrier in people's attics, it saves them money every month on their electric bill forever. But right now you're offering a huge discount. Why are you able to save Steve Kane listeners so much on radiant barrier right now?
Winter is just about upon us, and our guys are able to move really quick, really fast, really efficient in your attic. So if you need any work up in your attic, such as radiant barrier to cut your electric bill 30 to 40%, if you need insulation work, if you need duct work, now's the time to call. At this time of the year, because the attic's much, much cooler, the guys are just much more efficient. We literally get done with the work in like half the time that it normally takes when it's hot out, because in the summer, literally you can only work in the attic for maybe an hour at a time, then you have to take a break. So, there's a lot of people that have been looking at their big electric bills all year. A radiant barrier literally cuts the temperature in your attic 30 to 40%. It cuts your AC runtime in half. It lowers the temperature in your garage 10 to 15 degrees. A lot of people have their air conditioning starts up and the ducts blow out hot air for the first couple minutes. Radiant barrier, when it lowers the temperature in the attic and stops that radiant energy transfer from heating up the ducts, it stops all of that.
Take advantage of those huge winter discounts right now. Save money every month on your electric bill forever. 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, from the Panhandle to Key West and everywhere in between, give them a call. 954-939-1500.
Good morning, Bruce.
Online, cutmykilowatts.com.
This is Janet Cimarelli, licensed nutrition counselor. I have more than 30 years experience counseling people, and I've traveled throughout Europe, United States, and Canada for nutrition education from the experts around the world, all to be able to give you the very best health information for my clients. You can see me, Janet Cimarelli, licensed nutrition counselor, by appointment at AJ's. Call 954-317-1851 and see the changes you can make in your health with nutrition. 954-317-1851. 954-317-1851.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel.
By the way, this Jack Prosobic story about the jury intimidation, have you seen that on television specifically? Let me know, yes or no, because I have not. I don't know if people that follow mainstream news are even aware of this.
The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-COCAINE-1. That's 1-888-COCAINE-1. And now.
Alrighty, second hour has begun. 5 minutes after the hour. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977. I'm going to recap a couple of things before I sprinkle in some new stuff. For those that are just tuning in the first hour, some great calls, by the way, in the first hour. And when I mean great calls, I mean high quality content from the callers. And I know you guys are following this, and your observations are very interesting because you pick up on things I missed, and it's you know, there's a big problem going on here with this jury. Now, Jack Prosobic, who is an incredible investigative journalist who has incredible sources, last night sent out 3 tweets on the Rittenhouse jury. I've not seen this reported in the mainstream corporate media on television, but what he reported last night on Twitter, which I'm going to read to you in a moment, got him trending on the Twitter last night and even this morning before I left the house. I don't know if he's still trending, but he was trending when I left the house this morning, and I haven't heard anyone say it's not true. Let me go through the 3 tweets from the great Jack Prosobic. Here's the first tweet. 2 jurors holding decision up, outright citing backlash per U.S. Marshal in Kenosha. So he says that they are verbally expressing. They're not holding this up and not talking. They are apparently refusing to vote guilty or not guilty officially, fearing backlash. And first, you got to ask yourself this question. Do they fear backlash for going guilty? I think that's highly unlikely. Here's Jack Prosobic's second tweet. And it's a continuation of the first because you run out of characters on Twitter. They're worried about media leaking their names, what will happen to their families, jobs, etc., including doxing threats from anarchist groups. So if they're going to go guilty, they wouldn't be worried about anarchist groups. So we have 2 members of the jury. It looks like we've got a 100% not guilty in this trial, but 2 of the jurors are afraid of the leftist anarchist groups. They wouldn't be afraid of going guilty and even having a hung jury. It's got to be 100. Every juror's got to be not guilty on this, and they're afraid. And, you know, Joe Ellen from Fort Lauderdale, I think it was Joe Ellen who said, well, they should just, you know, get 2 alternates in there. That's not right. We've got a verdict here. We've got a verdict in the Rittenhouse case, and the verdict is not guilty, but 2 of the people are afraid to write it down on the paper. We've got a verdict. It seems to me the judge has one option: mistrial with prejudice. Case closed. It's over. This is insane. Have you seen this story on the mainstream corporate media? Has this made it to the television? He's trending on Twitter, Jack Posobiec, and I went through a lot of it this morning. No one has brought in a source that says it's not true. And it's been out there for about 12 hours or so now, hasn't it? I saw it last night before bed. I don't remember what time it was when I saw it. All right, let's go back to the phones. 1-888-GO-KANE 1. 888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Hey, Brian, I'm Wisconsin.
Rome, Wisconsin. Good morning. How are you, Rome, Wisconsin?
Pretty up to Kenosha shortly to show my support.
How far away are you from Kenosha?
About 45 minutes.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, you know, when you if I were you and you do go, okay, and my recommendation would be not to go. Do not go. Do not go. Do not go. That is my recommendation to you. If you do go, which I'm with your husband, do not go. But if you do go, don't go. But if you do, when you get there, hang around cops, get close to cops, and Right Side Broadcasting. That'll be your safest spots, because Right Side Broadcasting are always safe, and they're there out in front of the courthouse. But do not go. Watch on TV like me. No good can come of that. Do not go.
I feel that I am not showing enough support just sitting here watching everything on TV.
I don't go to political events really anymore. I had a leftist try to kill me at one, push me in front of oncoming traffic in rush hour, all right, and laughed while they did it. I've been assaulted by leftists, and then they go to the police and say I hit them after they hit me, and then their friend is ready to lie. You know, these look what happened. Kyle Rittenhouse was just there rendering aid in Kenosha. Look where he's at right now. Do not go. Stay home. Watch on TV like the rest of us. Do not go.
My husband keeps telling me that too. Watch on TV. Look what happened to Kyle. But if I'm there, will my voice be heard? I don't know.
No. Why? I mean, I understand you have this urge, but you know you shouldn't go. That's why you're calling me. You want me to back your husband up.
Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah. Do not go. It's not a good idea. No good can come of that. Do not go. In fact, none of our people should go. None. No MAGA people, no Kyle people, no one should go. Okay? Right Side Broadcasting is there covering this as a news event. But conservatives, activists should not go. No one should go.
Broadcasting, I support them. They're really good.
Yeah.
This is kind of like going to a Trump rally, you know?
No, it is not. No. When you go to a Trump rally, you don't have anarchists inside the rally wearing shirts that say F Kyle, like I see out front of the courthouse, okay? Correct. It's not safe. Do not go. You know, if you go, you're playing into their hands. They want, and I noticed, I was watching this last night on Right Side Broadcasting in front of the courthouse. It started snowing briefly on the snowflakes out in front of the courthouse. Snowflakes on the snowflakes in front of the courthouse. And there were not very many MAGA people there. Very few. That is good. We do not want any MAGA people there. Just let these people be. I even saw the anarchist with the F Kyle shirts. They left the steps and then started marching. They didn't have anywhere, and basically they just walked around in a circle because there was nowhere to march. But what do you think they were doing? They're looking for trouble. They want someone like you there so you can become the center and try to trigger you. And do not go to Kenosha. Stay out of Kenosha. Watch on TV from home. Watch Right Side Broadcasting. They'll be there later today covering it live. Do not listen to your husband. In fact, you're obligated to. Didn't you take wedding vows to love and obey?
Well, come on now.
It's when my wife and our 25th wedding anniversary is coming up in a couple weeks, and I didn't even notice this, and she told me later. She didn't say obey in our wedding vows. She took that out. I know. Well, So she's not, but you didn't, it sounds like. So you took an oath. Obey your husband. Do not go. Do you work? Do you work during the day, or you stay at home and your husband goes to work?
I don't get paid for what I do. I take care of a lot of animals. I run animal rescue, and I am...
Yeah. Okay, you're volunteer. No, that's good. No, if I were your husband, I would take your car keys when he goes to work today. I would take your car keys.
Gone.
Oh, well, he can come home if he's listening. Mr. Rome, Wisconsin, go home, take your wife's keys.
Okay, Brian.
Or he could take the wire off the spark plug, one of the spark plugs, so the car won't start. Do not go. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Scott McKeon.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, I fully agree with you that the judge needs to call the jury in, verify if this is actually the case. I would ask the other jurors, even if you're willing to vote, do you also feel intimidated? And at that point, I would call a mistrial of prejudice. But when the judge writes his I forget what they call it, when he actually puts out his decision, I would cite jury intimidation. I would cite the prosecutor violating, commenting on Kyle's taking his Fifth Amendment. I would cite the president's remarks. I would cite false information put out.
Well, I would do that and more. I would do exactly what you're saying, and I would also talk to Jack Prosobic. I don't think Jack Prosobic would reveal his source, although he kind of did. He said it's a marshal, and I've heard there's only 2 there. I would, if I were the judge, I would question under oath about this Jack Prosobic, and I would also question the marshals as well. Because the 2 jurors holding out, now Jack Prosobic says they're being vocal about their fears, so maybe they'll love to sing like a canary to the judge, but maybe their fears will keep them silent to the judge in the open courtroom.
I think the judge should cite all this and say all the totalitarian circumstances, all this going on, is a gross violation of Kyle's constitutionally protected right to due process, and you can't have this.
It's really a sad thing because the anarchists out front believe, I'm talking about from their perspective, that they're civil rights people, that they fight for civil rights. And what they're doing, there was a time in this country when there were lynch mobs and people couldn't get fair trials that were black. And there'd be white lynch mobs out front. And they don't understand that they're the lynch mob now. They don't even see themselves.
Do you know if the judge calls a mistrial with prejudice? Can can the DOJ, can they still file federal charges in that case?
Of course, they can find some civil rights charge. They might use this. They act like crossing state lines. State lines are not borders; they're lines on a map. But they act like he jumped the border. They may say he crossed state lines and say that's federal jurisdiction, even though he didn't travel across state lines with the weapon.
And that's why I think the judge should cite all that stuff and say it's a violation of his right to due process, because if federal charges come, all that stuff that he would list in there doesn't change. So the defense could use that as a defense in a federal trial as well. Say, hey, his due process is already violated.
Oh, they'll find some Obama judge. There's probably even some Carter judges still around. I don't know, on the bench somewhere. They'll find some Obama judge, a Clinton judge or something, and they'll play ball with him.
The concern is if he calls a mistrial, you're going to get the same reaction in Kenosha as if it was a non-guilty verdict. You're still going to have, riots and looting and all this.
Well, I don't know. What I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer, but I've been listening to lawyers on, court TV and stuff doing analysis. And what I've not heard, and some of them are Wisconsin lawyers, so they know Wisconsin law. What I don't know is, if he dismisses with prejudice, what does that mean? He's not a convicted felon, but what does that mean about his record moving forward for the rest of his life, which is just beginning because he just turned 18? Obviously, he'd have to write on every application that he was arrested when they asked that. He has been arrested. But what does that do so far as his status? Because it's not an acquittal. I don't know what that does to him moving forward in his life.
He has to apply to the state to get that record expunged if he was not convicted.
It's hard to get it expunged when you're a household name,
Well, it's true. Yeah, and I don't think he's going to get a fair shake wherever he goes. I would love to see a not guilty verdict. I would love to see him sue the pants all these, media outlets and people that have said this stuff about him that's not true, because that right there, you're creating a narrative.
Well, do you agree with me that the two jurors are fearful of their safety, their family's safety, and their jobs? Jack Posobiec says, and they're holding out. They're not afraid because they're going to come back guilty, right? They're afraid because it's not guilty, right? I mean, does that make sense?
Absolutely, and that is the definition of jury intimidation.
A lynch mob. And on Fox last night they were reporting that in the jury room they could hear the anarchist outside with all the terrible things they're saying. I mean, that's intimidation too.
I mean, your other guest has talked about it. So have you. It's the fact that they weren't sequestered even from the beginning, or at least until once deliberation started, is just insane.
Mm-hmm. All right, Scott and Kiev, take care. Thanks for the call. Let's take our first break of the second hour. It's 20 minutes after the hour. My name's Brian. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
Seniors, open enrollment is here. I Will Advisors is here to offer you an unbiased comparison of all your Medicare health insurance options. I Will Advisors specialize in educating Medicare beneficiaries on every available option to ensure you make the right choice for your needs. Call us directly at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Hi, Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. We survived the 2021 hurricane season. Now it's time to get your building envelope ready for the next season. Laporta Contracting installs all types of roofs, from asphalt, clay, and concrete, standing metal seam, flat roofs, and slate tile systems. Our building restoration offers complete envelope protection to include siding, stucco, concrete restoration, impact windows and doors, weatherproofing, and painting. Laporta Contracting serves single-family, multifamily, HOAs, and commercial properties. Call Laporta Contracting today for a free...
Blazing Flock says I'm a wimp. Let me tell you, out of everyone in this chat room, I bet you I'm the only one that's had multiple guns pointed at their head and face at the same time.
That number again is 954-604-4602. And thanks for listening to the Steve Kane Show.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow, banned by over 20 retailers, has lost over $65 million in revenue this year already. Boycotts are being pushed by the left. Stand with Mike Lindell. Support MyPillow and the thousands and thousands who work with Mike Lindell. Visit MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout for incredible savings. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. Support Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Don't let the tech giants, don't let the left.
You know, Jim Lockwood, I feel like Soros is like a boogeyman, like Kaiser Sose.
K-A-N-E at MyPillow.com.
Listen to the Steve
You know what I mean? He gets blamed for everything, you know.
Search for WWNN.
All righty, we are back 22 minutes after the hour. My name's Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show. You know, I was talking the last couple days. I've got some minor health problems. I'm not dying, guys, and I don't have a disease, and I'll be okay. But the reason I know I have health problems is because of any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. There's lots of any lab test nows around. These are the only two that advertise on the Steve Kane Radio Show. And they don't just do COVID testing. They do. They have same-day PCR testing, by the way. They do that. And I've been tested for COVID over there many, many times over the last year. However, they also do all the lab work that your doctor would order, and they guarantee the lowest price anywhere. My daughter and wife go to any lab test now with Boca for their lab work, and you're in and out. They say 15 minutes or less, but I'm rarely in there more than 5. And I found, a lot of times you neglect your health. You know, they have a basic checkup, which consists at very low price on the basic checkup, consists of the most commonly ordered testing panels of primary care physicians. I had that test just done so that I could talk about it in the commercial, and I found out I got some issues I got to take care of. And I went in Saturday morning for lab work that my doctor ordered some specific test, and every test came back in the red. And any lab test now of Boca is where I typically go because I'm closer to there. Steve, he goes to any lab test now of Coral Springs. Both locations open Monday through Saturday. No appointment necessary for any of the tests. Just walk right in. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto, north of Hillsboro, on the east side of 441 State Road 7. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood over by the Coral Square Mall. And when you stop in, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio. All right, so I was very, very happy that Tucker Carlson's gotten involved in this Rittenhouse story. Let me just play some of this. This is Tucker Carlson last night talking about the jury.
The jury in the
Dan, $5 super chat. Thank you, everyone. Thank Dan for that super chat. Impeach Garland. Yeah.
reaches a verdict in just a few hours, so these jurors are taking much longer than most. But it's probably not because the evidence they have heard is confusing them. In a typical trial, an insider trading trial, for example, something complex, an honest observer might be able to see both sides of the case and probably can. But that is not true here, far from it. In fact, it's the opposite. From the very first moments of this trial, it was obvious that Kyle Rittenhouse never should have been indicted in the first place. The key question was, did Kyle Rittenhouse act in self-defense that night in Kenosha? And the answer, unequivocally, is yes, obviously. It's a no-brainer. It's like the OJ trial. No honest person could reach a different conclusion. Kyle Rittenhouse shot men he believed were trying to kill him. Now, why did Kyle Rittenhouse believe that, you may ask? Well, in one case, the man he shot told him so directly. I plan to kill you. Of the other two men Kyle Rittenhouse shot, one repeatedly bashed him in the head with a skateboard as he lay on the ground, and the other stuck a loaded gun in his face. So Kyle Rittenhouse fought back in order to save his own life. We're not guessing about that. Even the prosecution's witnesses made that point. So once that happened, once Kyle Rittenhouse's life was threatened on the street in Kenosha, what were his options exactly? Well, he could fight back, or he could allow himself to be murdered by the rioters. And allowing himself to be murdered by the rioters is essentially what the prosecution has argued he should have done. Kyle Rittenhouse had a duty to submit to the mob.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, Tucker Carlson, and he went on for quite a while. He was very good last night on this, Tucker Carlson, and I'm glad he's outspoken. Now, there's another possibility here. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, Jack Posobiec has a source inside the jury room. One of the marshals said that 2 jurors are holding out of fear for their safety and their family's safety. So it looks like we have 12 jurors who want to go not guilty, and 2 of them are afraid to write it down on the paper. And I think most of us can understand that. I really do. Joe Ellen in Fort Lauderdale cannot, okay? But, self-preservation. So there's another option we have not yet considered, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. At 1-888-GO-CANE-1. No matter where you're listening to this program, it's a toll-free call. 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. We've been talking that the judge could declare a mistrial with prejudice, which means the prosecution can't come back, and who knows what that does to Kyle in his future, because he's not convicted, but he hasn't been found not guilty either. There's another option that I did hear mention after the prosecutor had that spat with the judge last week. The judge has the ability to come in with a direct verdict, which means the judge can come back and overrule the jury and come in with his own verdict of not guilty. That's another option that very well may need to happen here. This trial is very, very important. Now, the Aubrey trial in Georgia, I've not been following that one closely, so I'm not talking about that in detail because I don't know enough about the particulars. Based on what I'm seeing, it looks like these guys are going to get convicted and should, but I haven't followed it close enough like I have the Rittenhouse trial to give you an informed opinion. So if I start talking about that case in Georgia, I'll be like a liberal. I won't really know what I'm talking about. But that verdict, that's a case that even if they get guilty, in that case, the anarchists are going to do their work. And what we found out, and with the witnesses is for the first time on national television, we got to find out who Antifa are, right? Criminals. 2 of the 3 that Rittenhouse shot, criminals. 1 is a convicted felon and was in illegal possession of that Glock. And 1 that was killed, one of the 2 that was killed in self-defense by Kyle Rittenhouse, had some sex offender status to him. And now we're seeing who Antifa are. They're criminals who, well, basically have been recruited by the left to go out and cause mayhem. These are not just fed-up activists who say, well, we can't take it anymore and we got to take our country back. The Democrats, the leftists, are using convicted felons and sex offenders, in the case of the one guy, to go out and pose as fed-up people that are standing up for the civil rights of Americans. And I know we've suspected these things, but for the first time, the face of Antifa has been seen. And it's not good. There was another person ID'd who's got some responsibility here. There's a photograph of the one guy who was just identified that was kicking Kyle in the head, Reginald Denny style. And that's what led to one of the 2 that he ended up shooting coming up to him. He's been identified. What are the charges against this guy? You kill someone, kicking them in the head. You could do permanent damage or kill them, kicking them in the head like that. And he's been identified. Another story came out yesterday that the defense was the prosecution was withholding from the defense and the court evidence that would have cleared Kyle and one of the other charges. One of the charges was pointing the gun at the bystanders. And the prosecution did not share with the court or the defense a high-definition version of that drone footage. The drone footage you've been seeing on TV is low quality, so you can't really tell what happened as well in it. In the high-definition video, I watched it this morning on Twitter. The high-definition drone footage, it's clear he didn't point the gun at those people. So everything about this case, from the jury, threats and intimidation going on, to the prosecutor and covering up evidence. I mean, that prosecutor is just a bad prosecutor. He's a corrupt prosecutor. I don't mean bad that he's just ignorant of the law, which he appears to be, but he's also corrupt. And he very well may have committed a crime by doing that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'll leave that up to legal experts and the judge to decide. But I think the directed verdict from the judge, not guilty on all accounts, is the only way that he can go. And that's that. All right. Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do. I'm going to bring up some other topics as well after the break, but you're certainly welcome to continue to call in on the Rittenhouse case. Our number, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. One of our callers yesterday, Jerry, called in. He says he uses all of our sponsors, including Champagne Automotive Repair. Oh man, Champagne Automotive Repair, they will never do a repair on your vehicle that your vehicle doesn't need. And I say vehicle, not car, because they work on cars, they work on trucks, they work on everything, okay? And have you ever heard of an auto repair shop that says, we will never do a repair on your vehicle that your vehicle doesn't need? Of course not. You've not heard it before. Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca Raton. We're so lucky to find them. I tell you, because, you know, we did not have for a long, long time an auto repair shop. And the reason for that is it's hard to find one that's honest. It's in fact, before Champagne Automotive Repair, I thought it was impossible to find an honest auto repair shop. But we found it, Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca. And let me I have multiple examples because they work on my family's cars, Steve Kane's family's cars, and I know many of you as well. And this example from Steve Kane's son is textbook example of the honesty over at Champagne Automotive. So Steve's son needed some maintenance, and Steve had him take his car over to one of the other shops where they do a diagnostic and then they give you the printout and tell you everything it needs. And he got that. And then he took his car, this is Steve's son Tyler, took his car to Champaign Automotive Repair, didn't tell him what the other shop said or anything, and had them look over the car from bumper to bumper, and they told him what work the car really needed. And then he gave them the printout from the first shop, the big name shop. And they told Steve's son that he needed $843.12. You heard me right. They told his son he needed $843.12 in repairs and maintenance that the car did not need. Isn't that something? That says it all. Champaign Automotive Repair. I trust them with my family's cars. Steve does with his family's cars. And their prices are great too, by the way. We have listeners that drive over an hour each way to go to Champaign Automotive Repair because not just of their very affordable prices, but honesty. They're just honest. Here's the number. Give them a call, all right? 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101. Champaign Automotive Repair in Boca, 561-245-8101. And when you call, tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Radio Show.
Seniors, open enrollment is here. I Will Advisors is here to offer you an
Steve Kane Show.
comparison of all your Medicare health insurance options. I Will Advisors specialize in educating Medicare beneficiaries on every available option to ensure you make the right choice for your needs. Call us directly at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-37.
Steve Kane Show.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show
Hold on.
iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
Oops. Back. I just hit myself in the face with my headset. Oh my goodness. That hurt. Snapped me. Got a little head injury there. That's okay. All right. 1-888-COCAINE-1. See, if you watch on YouTube, you get all the behind the scenes. 1-888-465-2631. Let's go to our phones. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Bruce, driving out here on the turnpike.
Bruce on the turnpike. What's up?
Well, there may be another option in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Something this high profile, there should be alternate jurors, and the judge would have the option of replacing the 2 jurors that don't want to come to a decision because of the fear factor.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that's a way to go, and I'll tell you why. I think you'll agree with me that they're not afraid for the lives of their family members and themselves and their jobs, which they've been vocal about openly, because they're coming in with not guilty. It's got to be, coming in with guilty. They've got to have not guilty, right? They got to go not guilty. So we have a jury a jury of 12 that wants to find Kyle not guilty. That's the jury. But 2 of them are afraid to write it on the paper officially because they're afraid for their safety. So, plugging in 2 people after we've got a jury ready to clear him, that doesn't sound like justice. That sounds like the Lynch mob's getting another shot.
Yeah, that's not good.
And these jurors are, they may be afraid, and I understand, but at least they're vocalizing it. All right, you get 2 alternates, they may go guilty because they're afraid too, but they may not vocalize it. No, I don't think that's the way to go, man.
All right, sir. Have a good day.
All right, take care. On the turnpike. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Brian? It's Tony from Buffalo.
Hey, Tony. What's up?
I'm kind of baffled about this whole situation. How did that agent go to a peaceful, a so-called peaceful protest with a rifle. And then how did the conversation get started?
Okay, your question, because you're a little muffled. Are you just waking up? You just got up? No, you said, how can you go to a peaceful protest with a rifle? A rifle.
Yes. And how did the confrontation get started?
Well, first off, people have guns all the time. And just having a gun legally is not violence, right? Having a gun legally is not violence.
Yeah. How you gonna go to a so-called peaceful protest with a rifle?
Well, Kyle is on video talking about it. You don't know why he was there. He was there to render first aid to people who may need it, and he was actually, prior to these incidents, was interviewed by someone who was filming things, and he talked about having the gun. He said he had the AR-15 because while he is there rendering aid, he also needs to be able to protect himself in case he's attacked. And obviously that's what happened.
Well, Brian, like I know that's BS. Rendering aid, that is not your job. They're like...
What, to render aid to people in the streets that are hurt? Really? You're not supposed to do that?
We have medical, what you call it? Here.
No. It was, this area in Kenosha was the purge. There was no help. There were no police. There was no help. No. If you were in trouble, you were on your own. It was the purge in Kenosha that night.
I know as a black man, I would not be able. I cannot use no self-defense going to a so-called peaceful protest with a rifle.
Well, that's your right. The Second Amendment doesn't require you to own and possess guns, but it allows you to legally possess guns and own them.
Well, in the right mind is that. What was your intention? And he's trying to claim that rendering service or protecting business. That's not your job. Why would you not?
Really? Okay, now you're in. Where did you say you're calling me from? Where did you say you're calling me from? Pompano. Okay, Pompano. When we have, so you've been here for a while. You've been here after hurricanes, I'm sure. When hurricanes hit, and we're without power for a couple of weeks, which has happened here in South Florida. I've experienced that. And things are getting a little hairy. Do you take any precautions to protect your family and your home?
Well, Brian, I understand that, but that's happened.
Okay, now slow down. Slow down. So you take precautions to protect yourself and your family during a hurricane if power's out, right?
When that's not a hurricane, so what are you saying, Brian? I'm taking precautions to protect my family.
Yeah, correct. At your home. If you're a small business owner, you have two homes. When you're a small business owner, you have two homes, right, that you're responsible for. One, you have the house that you live in, and the second one is the business that provides support for you and your family. And the business in particular was attacked by anarchist arsonists, and they asked friends and friends of friends to come to their business to protect it so that it wasn't burned down completely. I don't see what's wrong with that. No, you did. Well, that's why Kyle and others were there with guns.
No, I did not say. What Kyle did was when he got a gun, and from Parktown, where he don't stay, don't have to do business.
So what? You have freedom of movement in America.
Yes, but you with a rifle?
Yes.
Oh, man, you know what this sounds like? You really trying to justify you and a whole bunch of other.
Justify what? What am I trying to justify?
Justify for him carrying a gun.
Well, you have a right in Wisconsin. You have a right to open carry weapons.
You are right. You have a right to carry open weapons. But what in the right mind? Why would you go?
Well, who in there? Well, let me ask you. I've answered your questions. He was attacked by 3 people. The first 2 died. Let me ask the question. Who in their right mind would go up to somebody with an AR-15 and is unarmed, attack them out of the blue, and try to take their gun from them? which is what both of those guys did.
I asked the question, how did the conversation get started?
I answered that. They attacked him. They attacked the three people that were shot, including the two that died, okay, by Kyle Rittenhouse, attacked him, all three of them. The two that died tried to take his gun from him.
Come on, really though?
Yes, really. Yes.
So the one that's paralyzed, that all three of them are...
No one's paralyzed. There's two that are dead, and one of them has his arm like shot off.
So he confirmed that Kyle, that all three of them tried to go attack him. Why?
Yes, yeah, and there's eyewitnesses, including the person he shot that survived, testified in court that Kyle shot him in self-defense because he came at him with his illegally owned gun because he's a convicted felon, pointing it at Kyle while he was sitting on the ground. Do you know that one of the two that attacked Kyle that he killed in self-defense, do you know that one of them was a convicted sex offender? Yeah, of the three people, two of them are felons.
Committing crimes who don't have a felony on their record, bro.
No, two of them are criminals, are felons.
Once again, Brian, there are a lot of criminals out there who doesn't have a conviction on their record.
No, but two of the three that he shot are felons, and they attacked him.
There are a lot of criminals out there without a felony on a conviction or a felony on the record. So because they have a felony on the record, that makes them criminals.
So yes, if they have a felony on their record, they're a criminal by definition. Yes.
If I go out there and rob a bank and commit a murder and don't get caught, I'm not a criminal.
Well, these guys got caught though, and
I'm not. No. If I don't get caught, I'm not.
I don't even understand the relevance of that comment.
Well, the relevance is you saying because a person got caught, they got arrested. But what I'm saying is that a lot of people do.
All right. Okay. So you want a man, you want a young man at 18 to go to prison for defending his life.
18 also, what state that was? Missouri. So he has the right to walk around with a rifle at 18?
Yes. He was 17, yes. You have the right in Wisconsin. You have the right to walk around with a rifle, yes.
Wow. Wow.
It is legal. What you don't have the right to do is attack somebody.
I don't do the wrong work, getting ready for college.
Huh?
Wow. Man.
You can do both. You can be a legal gun owner while you're preparing for college.
That's BS. Well, that's BS. This is BS we're right now.
All right, BS. All right, Pompano. Take care. Thanks. Yeah, I'll give you the final word.
Only reason I'm saying that is because of BS. I'm an independent conservative. And I like a lot.
An independent conservative? You're an independent conservative? What does that mean?
Meaning that I have like some views on both sides, but
you're on both sides. Well, if you're on both sides, you're not on any side. All right, let's take our last break of the second hour. Those of you on hold, stand by. My name's Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show. We'll be right back.
We all know how beautiful and lush Florida is, with the abundance of trees and bushes. But if you want your home to look great, all of that greenery needs to be trimmed and well kept. So when it comes to trimming your trees, you want a pro, one who knows how to cut, when to cut, and the difference in each type of tree. And the best in South Florida are the professionals at GoPro Professional Property Care. With over 50 years of experience in South Florida, they know what's best for your trees. Now to make your home.
If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. We're live here on the radio Monday through Friday from 6 until 9 a.m. Eastern, taking calls from our radio listeners. You guys watching on YouTube can call. I also upload my podcast here that I do. It's another show I do with my wife, separate from this one. And I have a lot of videos and vlogs and live streams I upload here all the time. In fact, I did a live stream on the way into the radio station this morning. There'll be the video before this one. Brian liked that phrase. What phrase do I like? What's the phrase I like?
And businesses. 954-680-7739. 954-680-7739. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio. 954-680-7739.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All righty, 48 minutes after the hour, we're taking your calls on the breaking news out of the Rittenhouse jury. And I'll tell you, we only have till 8 o'clock to discuss this. Steve will be joining us after 8, and Steve was pretty adamant yesterday. He's probably going to read me out for even talking about this today, but it's the big story. And we do have some breaking news on the Rittenhouse jury. So if you want to talk about Rittenhouse, now's the time to call in and do it at 1-888-Q-CANE 1. 888-465-2631. You're on the radio. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, Brian, it's Jim Lockwood. How are you?
Jim Lockwood. How you doing, Jim?
Yeah. So the way an alternate works on a jury is, they had more than 2 alternates.
Now, Jim Lockwood is an attorney, for those that don't know, so we're getting a legal expert here.
So yeah, well, no legal expert, but I like to think I am, maybe. But on juries, you have alternates in case someone on the jury gets sick, dies, whatever, okay? Or is contacted or threatened during the trial. Once they go back in that jury room, it's done. It's done. There are no more alternates. They're gone. They get to...
Oh, when deliberations start, you can't bring in alternates. It's done at that point. I did not know that.
It's done. It's either guilty, innocent, or hung jury, or dismissed out of prejudice, or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
I love these people who come on and they say, and the prosecutor did this too. Well, yeah, he has a right to a gun to carry around a quote-unquote assault rifle, but there is no but. That's your constitutional right under the laws of Wisconsin. You can't turn the exercise of constitutional rights against a citizen. It is a right. There is no but after that. There is no but. You have the right to remain silent if you don't testify on your own behalf. That's it. You can't say, but he should have if he wasn't guilty, or it's a constitutional right.
Yeah, so when a trial, when the jury goes into deliberations, they dismiss the alternates at that point? I've never heard that before. But now for those that are just tuning in, I'm just going to recap the big story out of the jury, and then I want to hear your response, Jim Lockwood. Jack Prosobic reported last night he has Marshall is his source, and there's only 2 of them that's being reported there, so he kind of revealed his source. But Jack Prosobic said someone inside the jury room, a marshal, told him that there are 2 holdouts on the jury who are holding out because they're afraid for their safety, their family's safety, their jobs, and he said, etc. And they're being vocal about this. They're openly saying this. So it sounds like we've got a jury that wants to acquit, 2 that won't write it down on paper out of fear. What should the judge do if that's true?
Well, the defense counsel, he already put forth a motion earlier in the trial, before the trial was ended, for a motion to dismiss with prejudice. The judge never ruled on it. He essentially held it back for termination later. This is why, I think. Now, if I were the defense attorney, not come 9 a.m., I'd be, screaming holy bloody murder in front of the judge. Say, you can bet that the defense attorney knows about the tweet. He's not afraid of Fox News corporate from reporting it.
Yeah. I'm sure the judge knows, and I'm sure the defense knows.
You dismiss it. It's done. You can't put in anyone in there. You can't substitute out jurors. It's done. It's over. And they should not have another. They didn't have a case in the first place.
Yeah.
It as a joke. Good luck on your next election, buddy.
Yeah. He's a clown. The Keystone lawyer. Just a clown, both of them.
Steve, you don't ever ask someone a why question on cross-examination. Here, explain yourself. No problem, I will.
Well, when he the other day when he picked up the AR-15 and aimed it at the jury, what the hell?
I'm surprised the defense attorney didn't just get up and say, well, I guess if you point a gun at someone and you give away, by doing that, you give away your right to self-defense. If any of you want to go beat up the prosecutor right now, I guess so. All right, Jim Lockwood, good information. Thanks for the expert analysis. Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Al from Tampa, Florida.
Al in Tampa, Florida. All right, Al, what's up?
Yeah, so I was just listening to the podcast and...
Excuse me. This is not a podcast. This is a radio show that is on both AM and FM radio. This is the real deal. We're not some guy in a bedroom here. We're broadcasting professionals. Oh my goodness.
Wrong word there. Sorry about that. But if anybody's watched the trial, it's self-defense all the way. But one of the comments you made about felons, though, I don't agree with. I don't believe that you're a criminal for the rest of your life because you had a felony for something.
What did you? I was gonna let you go because your phone is so bad, but I'm not. I'm gonna suffer through the static. Okay, because I got to ask you. Okay, now what you said is I'm being because someone's a felon, it shouldn't follow them for the rest of their life. What crime did you do?
I haven't had any crimes. I've never been arrested, actually.
Then why are you so soft on them? Why are you so soft on felons?
Well, I know how people who have certain felonies that people change. You know,
people change. Well, in this instance, there were out of the 3 shot by Rittenhouse, 2 of them were felons who were committing felonies, new felonies. So not only did they not turn their life around, apparently they were living a life of crime. These 2. So these are not rehabilitated criminals. These are convicted felons who were committing more felonies.
Right, and I believe one of them was crimes against children. Or something like that.
One of them is a sex offender. One of the dead ones was a sex offender. Yeah.
Well, everybody is the same basket because.
Oh yeah, no. These are violent felons. If you're a violent felon, no, I don't want to be around you. You make me nervous. I don't know what you're gonna do. It's like having a pit bull. You know, it's like having a pit bull. But we're not talking about insider trading, blue collar crimes here. Okay, I mean I know a felon that's in my family who did some accounting business. They stole some money from a client. They were an accountant. They stole a lot of money and they went to prison. Okay, that's not the same thing as being a sex offender or having a violent felony. You know, okay. So we're, you know. All right, I'm going to let you go because that phone in Tampa is pretty bad. But you know, that sounds like he's on a cordless phone. Sounds like a landline cordless phone. You know. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hello, Brian. This is Steve from Boca. How are you?
All right, Steve in Boca. What's up?
Okay. You know, it wasn't very long ago. If we think back to 2020. All during the year, Black Lives Matter was rioting. They were burning down buildings. They were burning down businesses, black businesses, white businesses. They were attacking the police. These are all crimes. These are all crimes. And anybody who supports Black Lives Matter is supporting criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I bring that up? Because life is very, very simple. I live my life by the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And if people on the left were honest and they lived by the golden rule, this United States would not be going through what we're going through. And that's really, you know, I don't have much more to say.
Okay. So what? All right. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much, Boca. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jim from Maine.
Jim in Maine. What's up, Jim in Maine?
Not much. I just wanted to give my opinion that it doesn't matter who is the felon, who is walking around with a gun. The second the first match was lit or the first bottle thrown in a riot, they're at fault. They deserved everything they got.
Oh, slow down. So Kyle Rittenhouse is in the same boat as the felon who was in illegal possession of the 9mm that came after him?
No. I'm saying the exact opposite. I'm saying anybody that had to defend their property because that first match was lit.
Well, and by the way, your property can include yourself. Your property is not, you know, a business or a piece of land. Property is your person as well, your body. That's your most valuable property. Now, what do you think about this story though? Jack Posobiec reporting that 2 jurors are holding out because they fear for the safety of themselves, of their families, their jobs, and more, and they're vocalizing this. I don't think they would be fearful of the anarchist, as they said, if they were going guilty. It sounds like we got a jury that has a verdict of not guilty that's afraid to make it official. What do you think?
I agree. I agree that they're going to come back innocent or not guilty, but I think they handled the jurors wrong. I think they should have been sequestered. They should have been kept from everything. And if I was the judge, I would have looked right at anybody in the courtroom and said, if these jurors even stub their toe, somebody's going to jail.
Yeah. Well, today at 10 o'clock Eastern is when court resumes. 9 a.m. you keep hearing, but that's Central Time. So 10 a.m. today, the court will be open for business again. And hopefully these issues we've been talking about this morning on the program will be addressed. But I'll tell you, there's a great way to make a very positive change in your life. And that is getting yourself the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. I have them. My wife just ordered 2 new sets of the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets from MyPillow, because when you go to MyPillow.com and you use our promo code Kane, buy 1 set, get a second set free. We already have 2 of the regular sheets, and my wife ordered the flannel. But with the BOGO, you can get 1 flannel, 1 regular. You can get different colors even different sizes if you wish. I know it's a great deal, and this would be the best Christmas gift of the year. If you give anyone on your gift-giving list anything from MyPillow, they're going to love you, and they'll remember it for years to come, because everything Mike Lindell makes at MyPillow is high quality and last. And I have the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. They're amazing. And with this BOGO offer, buy 1 set, get a second set free. Buy 1, get 1 free. That's 2 Christmas gifts, right? Yeah, that's right. So if you have 2 people and they have different size beds or have a different taste in colors, you can get different sizes, different colors, mix and match. Buy 1 set, get another set free at MyPillow.com when you use the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout. By the way, any special you see there, you can take advantage of with the promo code Kane. And I'm just talking to you about the sheets because it's a great deal. I love them. I sleep on them every night, but I just got 2 more sets with the promo code Kane myself. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Callers on hold, stand by. Steve Kane will be joining us after the top of the hour, too. We'll be back right after this.
We've got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Hi, everyone. Brian Craig here. I'm in
Be right back, guys.
Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. Scott, when you install radiant barrier in people's attics, it saves them money every month on their electric bill forever. But right now, you're offering a huge discount. Why are you able to save Steve Kane listeners so much on radiant barrier right now?
Winter is just about upon us, and our guys are able to move really quick, really fast, really efficient in your attic. So if you need any work up in your attic, such as radiant barrier to cut your electric bill 30 to 40%, if you need insulation work, if you need duct work, now's the time to call. At this time of the year, because the attic's much, much cooler, the guys are just much more efficient. We literally get done with the work in like half the time that it normally takes when it's hot out. Because in the summer, literally, you can only work in the attic for maybe an hour at a time, then you have to take a break. So, there's a lot of people that have been looking at their big electric bills all year. A radiant barrier literally cuts the temperature in your attic 30 to 40%. It cuts your AC runtime in half. It lowers the temperature in your garage 10 to 15 degrees. A lot of people have their air conditioning starts up and the ducts blow out hot air for the first couple minutes. Radiant barrier, when it lowers the temperature in the attic and stops that radiant energy transfer from heating up the ducts, it stops all of that.
Take advantage of those huge winter discounts right now. Save money every month on your electric bill.
Steve Kane Show.
954-939-1500.
All right, hold on.
954-939-1500. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, from the Panhandle to Key West and everywhere in between.
The people they're worried about are not people that live in the town. They're worried about the people who are coming. They've got a network, a cross-country network. And on one of the shows I was watching, they pointed out that given 2 hours, they can create a major crowd. Tension anywhere in the country.
Now we have breaking news. We have breaking news out of this that I've been talking about today. So if you're on hold, stand by. Let me recap the breaking news, and then we'll go back to the phone. Okay, it was reported by Jack Prosobic last night that 2 jurors are holding out, and they've been vocal about it. His source is one of the marshals that's with the jurors. And he said that. One of the marshals talked to him. There's 2 jurors that are holding out. That's why they haven't rendered a verdict. They've been very vocal that they're fearful for their safety, their family's safety, their jobs, and the anarchist. That word was used. So it looks like we have a jury that wants to completely just not guilty, and 2 of them are afraid to write it down on the paper. And the judge is going to have to deal with that with prejudice. And they've also said court resumes at 10 a.m. Eastern. They've also said that the judge can render a verdict himself, a direct verdict or something they call it, so he could come in with a not guilty. Well, I can't worry about what the mob's going to do. You know, we got to do what's right and not let a lynch mob take over.
It's a factor.
I'd screw the mob. You know, they got to arrest them. They have the National Guard there. They have the National Guard in Kenosha, and the police are there too. So there's layers of protection. Now, there's only one opening on the board right now at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Do you want to go to the phone, Steve? Okay, let's go. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Elliot, Miami.
All right, Miami. What's up?
Listen, you know, the problem is, Brian, is that all these liberals, all these Democrats, they don't think these protesters do anything wrong.
Yes.
Everybody thinks that these protesters are the innocent ones. They're the victims. Nobody realizes that this kid was just doing what a great citizen should have done and just go there and do what he does. And everything was legal that he did. And he was protecting himself. But nobody sees that. The media, the news.
Well, the left have a criminal mindset. You know, if you're in Miami, right? So if I'm walking the streets over by Bayside, and someone comes up to me and points a gun at me to rob me, they say, "Give me my money." You know, the criminal mindset is they're not criminals. You're in possession of their money. You're in possession of their goods. Criminals are insane, and liberals think like criminals.
Now, Brian, I have another thing that I want to ask you.
Uh-oh, here goes the gripe. Here's the but.
Well, no, there's no but. I'm just very, very worried about this thing, and you're going to say, don't worry, it's nonsense, that they have nothing. But I keep seeing in the news that this committee have it out for Trump people, and I'm very worried. Now, Jen is in trouble. People are going to get in trouble, and they're going to kill.
All right. You can't, you know. I knew there was a but, and he was just. But I'm quick on the button. You may not have heard it, Steve. I'll tell you after the show. I'm going to let the delay build back up. I'm very quick. I'm very good. I remember one time a few years back, you and I. If you're on hold, stand by. I can't take any calls until the delay builds back up. Because I don't know who's on hold. All the calls are screenless, and the delay will be built back up momentarily. But a few years ago, you and I came up one night. Remember Michael Blum had his radio show during the week over here late at night, and we were on the Michael Blum show, and the first caller said something, and Al Knight was running the board, and they hadn't used the dump button on any of the shows here, and they had to scramble around and found it just in time because we have a 20-second delay. But when we take calls on the Steve Kane Show, the dump button is right there, and my finger is all the time ready to hit it. And it's unfortunate we have to dump things. If it were up to me, we'd let everything fly, but there are laws, and some things can't be said. All right, the delay has built back up, so we can take some calls. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Well, it's got to. Yeah. Well, it's still building up, but there was a happening. It's not all the way up yet, so bear with me, callers. There was a happening, though, yesterday. Just play a bit here of Jesse Waters from Fox as we're waiting for the delay, and then we'll get back to the calls. But remember I was telling you yesterday they were making a move to replace Kamala Harris as vice president. You guys were all laughing at me. This is Jesse Waters last night. Callers, stand by. I'm just waiting for the delay to build back up, then we'll be right back to your calls. This is Jesse Waters last night.
Washington tonight, where our Capitol Hill correspondent Chad Pergram tells us he's been hearing whispers suggesting there could be some new high-profile confirmation hearings on the horizon in the House of Representatives. Why is this a big deal? Because the House does not confirm normal nominees, but it does confirm vice presidential nominees. Does this have something to do with Kamala Harris? It's no secret she's been running out of favor with the Biden team. Over the weekend, someone at the White House...
Okay, so it goes on. So they've been putting together confirmation hearing prep in the House of Representatives. The only thing they confirm are vice presidential nominees. And there's a...
Here. They have a big problem here because Kamala is a loose cannon.
There's another option. No, you're right.
If they try to get rid of her, God knows what kind of havoc she could create.
There's only one person that knows that. That's Willie Brown, because when he dumped her, I'm sure she went nuts. But, you know, when...
The heart.
But there's another possibility that this is not my thinking. Dana Perino on the 5 suggested what may be going on here. She said this is true, that they're putting together some type of House confirmation hearing, but it doesn't mean they're replacing her. It could be they're looking for her to nominate her vice president, with Biden being replaced by Kamala and becoming president. This was on the 5 last night. But there is definitely a move to shift things around at the White House going on in the House of Representatives. This is happening. Something's happening here. Well, all right. Now the delay's back up. We can take calls now. All right, guys. Thanks for bearing with us. You're on the radio. Good morning. Good morning, caller. Once. Yes. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Amy from Lighthouse Point.
Amy in Lighthouse Point. What's up, Amy?
Hey, Amy. How are you?
I'm good. I think this case is very important. For some reason around the country, we are seeing a culture of these rioters, people that are just wanting to take the law in their own hands, and us not being able to defend ourselves. It's happening with cops. It's happening with citizens. This Rittenhouse case is a very important case. I think, personally, that he was 100% in the right.
Well, apparently so did... Well, you're not alone. The jury apparently does, too, but they're afraid to render the verdict because of the anarchist.
Right. And I believe that the left knows this. I believe that they should have known that this case was going to be a very highly sensitive case, and they should have protected the jury much better than what they did. I mean, it's very much of a culture that they're trying to intimidate.
Well, so what do you think the judge should do when court resumes at 10 a.m. today? We know they're in fear because they're going to go not guilty. Why would they be fearful for going guilty from the anarchist?
So I think that the judge needs to assign, protective custody.
Yeah, but what about? But you can't. What are you going to do? Put them in the witness protection program for the rest of their life?
No, of course not. But maybe assign officers to them. Because there's going to come. It's just going to be a certain time.
If the judge should come in with his own direct verdict that he's allowed to do, not guilty, and it's over. How about that?
Phenomenal. If we know that he's going to do that, if he's going to slide that way.
He is obviously pro defense. He doesn't believe Kyle should even be on trial. You can tell.
He shouldn't. That kid should not be on trial. Personally speaking, I think that kid is a hero. That kid went and took it upon.
Well, I don't know about a hero. I don't know about a hero. Yeah, he's becoming,
He was in self-defense when he shot those men. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but be careful about the hero thing. Let's not. I wouldn't go that far. Johnny Black here.
Afraid. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Kind of identifying with or empathizing with what he must be going through, and there's no question he was in danger. I mean, it's a joke.
Absolutely, he was in danger. Absolutely, he was in danger. And I think people need to rise up more. I think people.
All right, okay. See, the last 2 callers in a row. All right, but the other one was really bad. All right, 1-888-GO-CANE-1 and We got to take a break. So we'll take a break. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here. I'm Brian. And next week's a big week for you, Steve. Big week. Next week. Yeah, next week's a big week. Well, GoPro's coming out to your house to finally take care of that that jungle that you call a yard and trim your trees.
You gotta tell them about it. You were...
Well, I gotta tell you, okay. Yeah, listen, I went to your house the other day, and Tom Laporta did such a great job with that roof. I gotta tell you, Steve, that roof that you have is beautiful. Oh, and by the way, the work that Tom Laporta did on the inside of your house, spectacular. And it matches everything in there. You know, you can't even tell your whole house was rebuilt. Did a masterful job. The problem is, the trees in your front and backyard are so out of control with growth. The front yard and the back, you got 2 in the front and 1 in the back. You got 2 trees in the front, 1 in the back. They have killed your yard. All your grass is dead. The flowers and everything are dead because these out of control trees have been blocking the sun from your house, and it doesn't look good. Frankly, when I pulled up, I almost drove by your house. I didn't recognize it. You got a beautiful new roof, and then it looked like it was embarrassing. I drove. I'm like, if it wasn't for the car, I wouldn't have even recognized it as your house. So GoPro's coming over there, tree trimming, to take care of everything. You'll hear. I'll play the commercial during the break, and you can get all the information. But they're going to come out to your house. I can't remember, either Tuesday or Wednesday next week. And by the end of next week, your house is going to be the showpiece on the block. It's between the roof that is spectacular from Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and the tree trimming and maintenance that you're going to get done. It's going to be the showstopper on the street.
Backyard, when I was looking at it, you were taking some before pictures. It's 3 stories tall.
Yeah.
House.
And it's growing out across the lake. It's growing out across the lake.
With the ones that has the red.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my God, it hasn't been cut properly. And I hope I haven't damaged it trying to.
No, they'll save it. They'll save it. And you know, yeah.
It's great at this.
And your neighbors are going to love you because your house, just a few months ago was on the verge of being condemned. And between all the work from Laporta Contracting and now the tree trimming and lawn maintenance, that you're getting so much done to your house, they're going to think you're moving. It's but anyway. It's going to look great. They're coming out next week. So let's take that break. You'll hear more about what they're going to do to Steve's yard during the break. Those of you on hold, stand by. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. We'll be back right after this.
Trees and bushes. But if you want your home to look great, all of that greenery needs to be trimmed and well kept. So when it comes to trimming your trees, you want a pro, one who knows how to cut, when to cut,
I didn't watch Cheers. Which one was Woody?
And the best in South Florida are the professionals at
the mailman or the fat guy? Which one? Which one's Woody?
50 years of experience in South
Steve Kane Show.
You know what's best for your trees and how to make your home look spectacular. With all the
Steve Kane Show.
Around, tree trimming is too dangerous to do yourself.
Steve Kane Show.
It requires a professional that you will not find by hiring just some guy with a truck who knocks on your front door. In fact, tree trimming is so much more than just cutting branches. It's about maintenance and keeping your trees healthy and having curb appeal. GoPro Professional Property Care is licensed and insured. Available 24/7 for any tree emergency. GoPro does it all too.
Oh, you mean Woody Harrelson? I just looked it up. Okay.
Lawn care and installation.
That's not too insulting.
Of what they do. Call Nathan. He's Steve Kane's personal tree trimmer, and now he wants to work with you. 954-680-7739. He's also available for condos, HOAs, and businesses. 954-680-7739. 954-680-7739. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio. 954-680-7739.
Donald Trump here. You're listening to the most pro-Donald Trump radio show in America, The Steve Kane Show. I love this show. Melania and I listen all the time. There's no better way to get the word out about your business than advertising here. Make America great again and advertise your business on The Steve Kane Show.
Thank you, President Trump. Call.
Yeah, you know, Woody Harrelson's dad's been in prison for murder for life. He's doing like a life. He's still alive.
Meet with me, Brian Craig, and Steve Kane, and we will be hearing about you and your business on the longest-running radio show in Florida, The Steve Kane Show, 888-465-2631.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right. Oh, boy. We are... All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's The Steve Kane Show. You with us, Steve? I dropped something on the board and hit a bunch of buttons, but I think we got it back. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Wisconsin Gary. What's up? Good. Are you back with us, Steve? No, Steve's coming back. Go ahead, Gary.
Rome, Wisconsin. So I gave her a really good, strong reason why she should not go. Okay, so hopefully, you know, with her husband, you, and me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Earlier in the show, are you back with us, Steve? Okay, yeah. Earlier in the show, one of our listeners in Wisconsin, she called in. She wanted to go to Kenosha to the courthouse today. I told her not to go. Do not go. Stay home. Do not go.
Looks like a January 6th for you, but you got one thing important that you need to stay home for because they are dependent on you, and that's what's more important to them.
That's right.
She stays home, but I had a really good conversation with Rome and everything.
See, everybody in Wisconsin has everybody's phone numbers, I guess, so you know. It's a small...
Close.
Must be.
In Wisconsin, but when you get down to those liberal areas, you know, because for Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine, Waukesha, I mean the demographics.
Really? Oh, so this is interesting. I was wondering about that. So Kenosha is a liberal town. Oh.
Groups sending in people.
Oh, you know, I mean, well, I'm talking about the jury. Well, no, I'm talking about the jury be liberal, and it looks like the jury wants to acquit. So this case is so clear cut. Even a jury pool made up of in a liberal town wants to find Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty. That's how clear cut this case is. Yeah. Hey, Gary. Yeah.
Point out is with about our governor. He is really such an idiot because if he's sending the National Guard out, now if anybody's heard, he sent out 500 troops.
Mm-hmm.
The governor, no way would those troops be in Waukesha County. I'd want those troops definitely put in Kenosha County. I would set out 1,000 troops be put out, protect every single business, have the jurors when the verdict is set, go out a secret door, out and try to avoid any conflict whatsoever.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, in my home state, our governor is just an idiot.
Well, I'll tell you, I was watching Right Side Broadcasting. By the way, Gary, thanks for the call. Right Side Broadcasting was live in front of the courthouse last night, and I was watching. They had a live stream reporting in front of the courthouse, and there were some protesters there. They were some of the most of them were white, wearing shirts that say F Kyle, you know, and things. Yeah, there was one or two Black Lives Matter people there who could barely, and the one guy could barely walk up and down the courthouse steps, you know, like Fat Albert looking guy. These were some of the most effeminate, wimpy anarchists I've ever seen, Steve. I mean, you know, the only thing they could do was go to Starbucks and order a triple latte or something. They didn't look that threatening to me. But who knows what'll show up today? But what was and my favorite? It was snowing. It started to snow in front of them. I'm like, oh, look, it's snowing on the snowflakes. This is interesting. All right, let's take some more calls. Only one opening where Wisconsin Gary was. You're on the radio. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning.
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hey, Jerry.
Oh, hey, Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you get my text I sent you yesterday?
You have my phone number? Oh, you emailed it? You left a message? I have not gotten it. You can tell. Is it good? Something you want to tell me on the air?
You got to get a blood pressure cup and carry it with you.
And do it on the air?
You can do it while you're working. You put out, check your breath.
Steve will tell you, the blood pressure is very high during the radio show. My blood pressure, and anyone's blood pressure that does this would be high. No, that would make it worse. Okay, good. Okay. All right, Dr. Jerry, appreciate the call. Good morning, you're on the radio. Hey, Dave. Dave in Kentucky, yes.
Speak up, nice and loud.
Okay, anyway, about Rittenhouse. Okay, he should have never, ever been charged in the first place. I mean, they charged him 2 days after the incident.
Well, let's talk about what's going on today, though, because I want to hear your opinion. Okay, we got a report. We got a report that there's 2 holdouts on the jury. That's why they haven't rendered a verdict, and they have been very vocal. They're holding out because they're fearful for their safety, their family's safety, and their job. And they also talked about fear of the anarchist. So that looks like we have a jury that wants to go not guilty. 2 people are afraid to fill out the form. What should the judge do today when court opens?
The judge should call it a mistrial with prejudice. End it all, because he should have called it before with the prosecution doing everything that they were doing. You know, and I think they were trying to get a mistrial, but I believe he should call it with prejudice and just end it all right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, whatever, I'm going to... Or he could come in with a not guilty verdict himself from the bench.
Good.
That's an option.
I think that's even better, because then Kyle's clear. But today at 10 o'clock, I'm going to be in front of my TV, and I'm going to, after the show, I'm going to rush home to do that, because court opens 10 a.m. Eastern. And I would think he's got to deal with this, wouldn't you? The story's out. Yeah, and he may, you know, I'll tell you too, guys, Court TV's back, and they do lean to the left, okay? But, and they're spending too much time on that Aubrey case, but they do have some good analysis on this, and they have people on the scene in the courtroom on Court TV. So if you have Court TV, check them out if you can, you know, unless they're covering the Aubrey case instead. But the judge may bring in the jury and start talking to them on TV today at 10 o'clock. He's going to have to investigate this.
Yeah, I know you watch them on Brightside.
They're not in the courtroom, I don't think. They were outside the courtroom. You need to see what's going on in the courtroom. Hey, thanks for the call, Kentucky. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hey, Richie the bus driver.
Steve,
hey, Rich. Good.
I don't want to break the show up with craziness, but I'd like to say something. Can I talk about probably a legend in talk radio?
Oh, here we go. He's walking you down the garden path, Steve. He's going to try to do...
Go ahead. In talk radio, and this legend has been around a long time. I've been listening to you, and I'm talking about you. I've been listening to you forever. I mean, probably as long as you've been on the radio. And I respect everything about you. You're unbelievable, because not only your past, but your present. You're great.
Yeah, I feel like Richie is like rehearsing a eulogy or something. You know.
For the Steve, your greatest achievement is your partner, Brian.
I agree with that. I happen to agree with that.
Well, 150%. That'll be your legacy that you put Brian. And actually, I remember Brian when he wasn't 100% that great. He's great now.
Yeah.
And I feel personally, when I heard you yesterday say you didn't want to talk about this case, it upset me, because I understand that you want to talk about the economy, which you're 150% right. But the media protect Joe Biden, and they're never going to talk about this economy. And if they do, they're going to talk the opposite of what you and I think, that this country's
well, look, hold on. Richie, after your kind words, let me just point out to you. It's a different, a talk show is a living, breathing thing. It evolves, it has a life of its own. What was wrong yesterday, because we come off days of talking about this trial, it was repetition. What was true yesterday is not true today. Today, there is something to talk about because everybody's sitting waiting for the trial to start to find out what the judge is going to do in these extraordinary circumstances. So,
you're right.
My feelings for what we should have done yesterday or should do yesterday are different than today.
I agree.
I mean, this is the right thing to. This is the right thing to be talking about. We've hit the proverbial climax here, the trial, and that's where everybody's attention is. Hopefully, if it gets out of the way fast, we can get back to exposing this phony.
Well, plus we got two things. It's not just the verdict watch. We have if it wasn't for this Jack Prosobic thing about the two jurors that are afraid of the anarchist, we wouldn't have been talking about it for 2.5 hours. There was an event. There was something that happened. It's what we call hooks. There's a hook to go and discuss it. What should happen, what will happen.
I heard you guys talking about rioting in Kenosha. The United States cities have been threatened by Black Lives Matter. Every city in this country will light up, and they've been threatened already. We're going to see the same thing we saw over.
Well, what do you think? Just to get a little focused here, we both appreciate all the compliments, Richie. What do you think the judge will do today with this jury intimidation issue we have now?
Well, he has no choice. Steve is right about that. He's going to have to call this thing off and let him walk. Because first of all, he'll be getting the jury. You can't change the two jurors unless they're sick. They have to be sick to be replaced. If they refuse to make a decision, he has to call an end to this trial, and he's got to take the heat. And he'll walk, and he should walk, and there'll be nothing on his record because he's not a convicted felon.
Mm-hmm.
He'll walk, and at that point, the judge has to do it. If the judge doesn't do it, it's going to be a mistrial, and we're going to retry this thing again, and it's going to be the same situation, if not worse. You got to get a judge.
I don't think they're going to let it go to a mistrial. I don't see them redoing this case.
No, he can do a mistrial with prejudice, so the prosecution can't come back.
It's a possibility.
I want the directed verdict where the judge declares him not guilty.
That will not stop the rioters because...
Well, they're criminals. I mean, this is what I was talking about yesterday with Steve. What we've done is we've finally seen who Antifa is. They're criminals that are hired thugs by the left to go out and commit mayhem. You got of the three, two of them are felons. One is sex offender. That's Antifa. So they're always looking for a reason to commit crime. The Democrats just give them an excuse under the guise of this movement, BLM and Antifa. Richie, we got to run for a break, but thanks for the call. And that was an interesting thing that happened with Richie because he called me up at the top of the show and he wanted to ream Steve out for not wanting to talk about the case, and then Steve joins us and he's talking about the case. So it kind of took the wind out of Richie's sails. It's a different day, but yes. Well, let's take our break, all right? We'll be back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Hi, Brian Craig here. I'm in studio with my wife, Kathy, and she's here to tell you about her experience
Steve Kane Show.
with my pillow mattress topper.
Well, as you know, Brian,
Hey, hold on. You'll be up after the break.
Almost every morning for years and years, and we had bought a new mattress not that long ago, but it still was not doing the trick. So I said to you, let's get the MyPillow mattress topper, and let's see if it helps or makes any kind of a difference. And I have to tell you, after sleeping on it just one night, I woke up. No pain. I felt incredible. It made a huge, huge difference for me. And the pain has not returned.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Now go to MyPillow.com and order your MyPillow mattress topper and do what Kathy and I did. Use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And this is an incredible deal because with the promo code KANE, you will save 30% off the MyPillow mattress topper and get 2 free MyPillows. But you've got to use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. It comes in every size too, from twin all the way up to California King. That's promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane on iHeartRadio. Just search.
All right, and when you call Friendly Mike over at Friendly Tire in Margate, make sure you tell him you heard about him on the radio. He takes very good care of all of his customers, but extra good care of Steve Kane Radio Show listeners over at Friendly Tire in Margate. All right, 1-888-GO-KANE-1 is the number. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Erica in North Carolina.
Erica in North Carolina. What's on your mind?
Okay, I just wanted to say that something that maybe in the favor of the not guilty verdict that's going to come out is the fact that Kenosha, though more of a Democrat town, they're different types of Democrats. They're more of a blue collar kind versus like a New York.
Oh, they're Democrats that work for a living.
Yeah, exactly. And Kenosha did go for Trump.
Oh, okay, good. Good for Kenosha.
Yeah, so
I bet that prosecutor didn't vote for Trump.
no, definitely not. So, but that I just heard from the grapevine that it's not. So that jury may be made up of people who may not be,
Well, to these lefties in the media, every time they show that picture of Kyle Rittenhouse carrying the big rifle, the AR-15, they go, oh my goodness, they get scared. In Wisconsin, that's everyday life, people walking around with guns like that. They have open carry in Wisconsin. I wish we had open carry in Florida. I think open carry is better than concealed. Myself, yeah.
It's going to be good anyway, but, it's still a little scary, but I think it's going to be good for Kyle, praying, so.
Well, yeah, but when that Aubrey verdict comes in, if it's guilty or not guilty, there's going to be trouble in Georgia.
Georgia, I don't even want to touch Georgia.
Yeah, now, I haven't been following that case, so I can't really speak on the Aubrey case in Georgia. But hey, listen, North Carolina, thank you for the call. Yeah, so that's did you see this thing yesterday with Steve with Biden on the bridge? Did I lose you, Steve? Oh, he went to New Hampshire. This is hilarious. Let me play this for you. I got to set it up, though, because you won't know what it is, anybody, unless I... Well, he stood in front of a rusty old bridge in New Hampshire, and he walked out with these people around him that I guess are worked in his cat. I don't know who they were, but they walked out trying to look cool, like they're that famous scene where the Reservoir Dogs where they're walking. And they're playing the music, and the Reservoir Dogs look so cool. Biden tried to do that with this crew of overweight cabinet people, and they got an American they got an American flag behind them. They're walking across the bridge for him to go to the podium and brag about the he's going to build back better. And there's one person clapping. Listen, I got the audio. Yeah. Let me play this for you. Now, I'm going to tell you, this audio, I bumped up the audio so you could hear it on the radio. So it's actually, and only one applauding at first. Listen. Hear the one person clapping, just one person clapping for Biden as he's walking. Listen to that. It's barely audible.
Sound of one hand clapping.
And he's walking, trying to do this Reservoir Dogs scene, surrounded by his overweight cabinet across this bridge. And I know it's not even audible. And this is, and I want to remind you, I made the audio louder as I could so people on the radio could hear it. You could still barely hear it. Okay, now there's a couple more. Yeah, this is the President of the United States, people, with the $1 trillion plan. Oh, there's a dog barking. Old Yeller back there barking.
What
President of the United States, people. Oh, okay. Is that not weak? That what an embarrassment. That was the most embarrassing moment.
Just close your eyes as you listen to that. Think of a Trump rally.
Oh my goodness! Any rally, you can go to any press. I don't care who it is. Nixon didn't have Nixon had more people clapping for him. Of course, he was leaving, but you know. And when Biden gets up there, he's so out of it, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know enough. And I don't know who's doing their staging. I almost felt bad for Biden. Almost. Then
It really is pathetic.
He deserves it.
Well, but the country doesn't deserve this. I mean, what did we do? Well, I guess when we elected Joe Biden.
You know what I would do? You know what I'd like the media to do? That was a bridge in New Hampshire that he's claiming he's going to rebuild with this bill. In 2024, media, go back to that bridge. I bet the same rusty bridge is still there, not rebuilt. Betcha. Bet you they're not going to rebuild that bridge. Yeah. But you know, you know what would be a great commercial for President Trump to do to launch his presidential campaign for 2024? Is, you know, there's a Publix right down the street from Mar-a-Lago. You know, right down the street from Mar-a-Lago, where Melania shops with Barron, right down the street from Mar-a-Lago. When I go to Mar-a-Lago, I usually park at the Publix. And I know a lot of you guys do too. Go through that Publix and go through the prices under Biden as compared to Trump's last day in office of his first term. And that's what people care about. Feeding their family and putting gas in their car. Not some rusty old... And this bridge, by the way, is in the middle of nowhere. It was out in the woods. Looked like where they filmed the Blair Witch Project, where he was at. Nobody cares about a bridge in New Hampshire out in the woods. You know, I mean, they need to have some real things that they're dealing with. This administration, they're clowns. They're just clowns. They're so they can't even get it. They can't even get people applauding for their guy. At this big moment yesterday of the signing that they were supposed to be experiencing. All right, now listen, we're going to take our break. When we get back, it'll be time for the Gold Report, which has been very exciting lately, the Gold Report, hasn't it? Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631. Let's take that break, all right? And we will be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Open enrollment is here. I Will Advisors is here to offer you an unbiased comparison of all your Medicare health insurance options. I Will Advisors specialize in educating Medicare beneficiaries on every available option to ensure you make the right choice for your needs. Call us directly at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
So you've been told you need a health test. What are you going to have to pay? Health tests can be very expensive. If you go to your doctor's office or one of the big labs, it can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had lab tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs' goal is to get you all the lab tests you need, save you money, and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs, you never need an appointment, no doctor's order, or prescription needed either. You can walk right in and have any of their thousands of lab tests done for just a fraction of the price the big labs or your doctor's office charge. Give them a call, 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Redwood near the Coral Square Mall. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Private and affordable lab testing. 954-906-5983.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search.
All right, 46 minutes after the hour, and it is time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with this morning's Precious Metals and Gold Report. William Youngerman, good morning. Great, how the metals looking?
Metals looking good. We gave us a pullback yesterday as we were expecting after a nice run up, and gave us a great buying opportunity, closing down $11.90 yesterday at $1,850.30. That's after getting up to as high as $1,878, very close to our $1,900 number. Silver closed down 24 cents at $24.80 after hitting a high of $25.50. Platinum closed down $28 at $1,059 after hitting a high of $1,113. And palladium was up $8 at $2,100. This morning, turned around, gone right back up, and regained all that we lost yesterday. Gold at $1,862 right now. That's up $11.40. Silver up 30 cents at $25.10 the ounce. Platinum up $1 at $1,860, and palladium up $1 at $21.01. That's pretty much what we're.
Wow. Well, at these prices, it sounds like a very good opportunity for people that have old jewelry and things lying around the house that are gathering dust to come on over and turn them into money. What are some of the things you buy from people when they come over?
We buy anything made of the precious metals, as far as gold, silver, platinum, palladium, as well as jewelry, watches, things that we can resell. We pay top dollar for, and all collectibles, old paper money, and anything in the numismatic.
You hear that, guys? So listen, they open up at 10 a.m., located right here in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway. You can find them online at williamyoungerman.com or give them a call, toll free, 800-327-5010. 800-327-5010, and of course, all the metals in stock right there for immediate delivery. All right, William Youngerman, we will talk tomorrow. All right, take care. Take care. You with us, Steve? Okay, I thought I lost you. So you're gonna be watching the trial today at 10. It's gonna start at 10 on the East Coast. It'll be back. It should be very. I don't. In the high-profile trials, Menendez, O.J., Zimmerman, and everything else, we talk a lot about hung juries and things. I cannot remember a story coming out where we have very specifics about jury intimidation. I've never heard that before. We've talked about like I remember like in OJ, people were afraid that the verdict would depend on the riots and things like this. But I've never heard a story of specific information about a particular two jurors who felt threatened by the mob and wouldn't render a verdict. This is new, to my knowledge. At least being open about it. This is like out of Al Capone, intimidating juries. It is. Well, it's a big turning point because they're afraid of Antifa, which is a Democrat activist organization, and really this is, you look at the way Democrats are behaving. Right? They got the FBI after parents at school board meetings. They've got these anarchists intimidating jurors. Everything the
hovering over the scene has to inhibit the bad guys a little bit, you would think.
I don't think so. I think they want to clash. Don't be so sure they're armed. Do you think they're giving bullets to the National Guard? I bet they're not. I bet their weapons are unloaded, the National Guard. Kent State. I bet you that those National Guardsmen at Kent State, they were attacked by the students. And nobody ever talks about that at Kent State, but that's true. And I think since Kent State, they're not going to send National Guardsmen out there they'll have guns, but they won't have bullets. They probably won't even have bullets not only in the guns, on their person. They'd probably have to go and requisition bullets from a supply officer or something. There's no way they're sending armed National Guardmen.
Factor.
They're not even there, Steve. They're like it. The soldiers, the National Guard, are like the next town over. You know, they're not there at the courthouse.
You don't know where they're going to be by the time the action starts.
Yeah.
We'll find out this morning.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be over.
Well, be nice if the verdict comes in today, and then we'll do a little victory lap, and then we'll move on. Yeah, I'd like the victory. Well, luckily we got a good guy who's a judge. This guy's a Trump guy, the judge, you can tell. I mean, his phone ringer is Lee Greenwood's "I'm proud to be an American." You know this guy's not a liberal. He's a Trump guy. You know, he wears ties with the American flag on them, and he's very, he's very soft on. He likes Kyle Rittenhouse, and they were watching some images in the courtroom the other day, and Kyle was behind the judge looking over his shoulder watching it. I've never seen a judge allow someone on trial for 2 murders in their courtroom, unhandcuffed and shackled, be looking over their shoulder behind them like that before. It was a very strange thing to see in the courtroom. If the judge wasn't on Kyle's side and thought he was guilty, he wouldn't allow that to happen. And I've never seen bailiffs allow someone close to a judge like that. But I'll tell you, you guys can go and watch this after the show. Mike Lindell interviewed President Trump, and it's on Mike Lindell's website, Frank Speech, and I watched it this morning, and it is very, very good. And the president is wearing a very fancy tuxedo. It's like the fancy. He looks like President Trump looks like he's going to Downton Abbey. He's that dressed up in this one. When Mike Lindell's interviewing, I watched it this morning. It's very, very good interview. So go and check that out. And they talk about all the important stuff. And Mike Lindell did not hold back when he was talking to President Trump. It's a very good interview. In fact, I would say Mike Lindell's interview of President Trump is one of the best interviews I've seen of President Trump in a long, long, long time. And some of the things Mike Lindell brings up in the interview did not even occur to me. And I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe where he went. But you guys can go watch it on Mike Lindell's Frank Speech website. I think you'll enjoy it. President Trump's tuxedo costs more than the entire wardrobe that I've owned my entire life, probably combined, from the time I came home from the hospital as a newborn. It's a very fancy tuxedo he was wearing. But that's that. Yeah, the thing about the politics in the news, Steve, I miss the era of the high-profile televised trial that captivated the country. We used to have all these trials all the time, and I've always enjoyed them. That era of talk radio. So I kind of like having a trial back and getting a break from the Washington Depression. Don't you?
Around it, we're in a really with this second bill that they're trying to foist on the American people. It can do some really, really lasting damage to the country.
Yeah.
If it's not stopped, and so it just takes it into the realm of something more serious.
Yeah.
Focus on what really counts, and it looks like when
Steve
they
Kane
score
Show.
This bill,
Hey, wait, gentlemen.
it becomes obvious.
Yeah. Well, it is. No. It pays for itself. That's the dumbest thing. It's paid. I love when they say that. It's paid for. It's paid for. What does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what, though. It is time to check in with Janet Cimarelli from AJ's Natural at the Festival Marketplace with the Morning Health Report. Janet Cimarelli, good morning.
How are you? Good morning. I am great. So, good morning to the both of you. So, would you agree that if you want to feel your best, you really want to look your best? And AJ's Natural Wellness Shop is all about that. Lots of people are using collagen powders.
My iPad finally died.
Easy to use. That collagen is the connective tissue, your joints, your skin, your hair. It's so important. But then, what's the bottom line? You want to look good. And so on Sunday at AJ's Natural Wellness from 1 to 3, we are having hair care specialist Miss Eileen. And she is an expert on all kinds of hair types, all kinds of hair problems. And so come on in and meet Miss Eileen and find out about all the natural products we have for taking care of your hair. You don't want some of the really caustic synthetic chemicals that are in mainstream hair care products. So we'll show you that there are alternatives out there and alternatives that work, and you'll get the guidance from Miss Eileen on how to use these products and get the results you're looking for.
Now, you know, this is interesting thing here, okay? I tell you, Janet Cimarelli, because Janet Cimarelli and her partner Anita own AJ's, right? Anita's the A, Janet's the J at AJ's Natural, the Festival Marketplace. And, you know, Janet Cimarelli is probably one of the most well-known people in South Florida, if not the most well-known, when it comes to nutraceuticals. But now you have this store that's owned by two women, and now you're getting into areas of natural health that never occur to us men, and that's hair care. And over the years, I've never even thought about hair care with natural health, but that's certainly important, especially if you're losing your hair. Yeah. And just real quick on a personal note, I took you a little early, Janet, because I wanted to use your licensed nutrition or counselor hat. I met with my doctor yesterday, and shockingly, she recommended that I take some natural supplements for a couple of things. She did recommend fish oil. I'm going to stop over there about that, but my liver enzymes are one of the things that I have a problem with, are through the roof. And do you have something for my liver enzymes, Janet Cimarelli?
Absolutely. We have something for your liver enzymes. We have something, certainly, the highest quality fish oil product. It's super, super.
Yeah, you know, and the liver, I've got some liver problems, which is unusual because I'm not a drinker, except on our cruises. But that's only a week a year. That's only a week a year. Well, I'm going to stop in this week and talk to you about that because I've got some other problems, too, that I'm not going to share on the radio. And we'll talk about that in private. And you guys can, too. You can make an appointment to meet with Janet Cimarelli for free counseling when you call. Here's the number at AJ's, 954-317-1851. 954-317-1851. AJ's Natural Wellness Shop is in the Festival Marketplace, which is just immediately east of the Turnpike on the south side of Sample Road in Pompano. All right, Janet, we'll talk tomorrow, and I'll see you later this week. Steve, we have 10 seconds for you to say goodbye.
AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network, WWNN, Pompano Beach.
All right, guys, I'm all out of time. Make sure that you click that like button. Give me that like button before you leave. And if you're new, subscribe, all right? I got to take off. Got some things to do, and I got to be done before 10 a.m. to catch the beginning of the Rittenhouse courtroom drama. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.